Australia have hit back. That's right. The pink ball test belongs to Australia. Travis Head levels up the series, 1-1. Father of India yet again. We'll talk all things pink ball test, a little bit of England, New Zealand, and leading into the Gabba, which starts on Saturday, about 2.5 days at time of recording. NFL, the playoff picture is taking shape. We'll have a look at the MVP race, plus a little bit of college football news. NBA, we are heading into Christmas and NBA Cup semi-finals. It's a wonderful time of the year in the biggest basketball league in the world. Plus, in soccer, Ruben Amorim hasn't quite been able to turn around United season just yet. And is there some pressure building on Big Ange at Spurs? Plus a final round with a wrap-up of UFC 310 and the end of the F1 season. This is On The Esky. It's an Aussie sports podcast. We like our Aussie sport. We like our US and world sport. We like to have a laugh and a dribble along the way. There's timestamps on YouTube. You can skip the sports that you like. If you're finding us here after seeing the wrap-up of the West Test, and you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. If you're new to the channel, it goes a long way. Plus, you can chuck us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, and X. We do like to start this show by shouting a beer to commemorate excellent achievement in the sporting world in the past week or two. Shauno, buy plenty of beers with this contract. Who you got?
I've got Jan Soto, who has signed a 15-year, $765 million US to go and play for the Mets in baseball, so Major League Baseball. The richest contract that there's ever been, I guess.
Yeah, sports contract.
Sports contract. I think, most dollars, maybe if you broke it down per year, it's slightly different, but in total, it's pretty big.
Yep.
Baseball is fast approaching a $1 billion contract. But the interesting stuff out of that is it's more than what Brady got. It's more than what Bron got for their career earnings combined.
That's contracts, so it doesn't include their endorsements.
All endorsements, etc. But yeah, for all their playing money, etc. It's a lot of money. So a lot of memes about got to hit the batting cage. Getting the little ones out there.
Get your kids in playing baseball.
Yeah.
Like
6-month-olds with baseball bats. Because the baseball contracts are a bit unreal, and especially like for this. He's 27, so it'll go through to 42.
Yeah.
So, probably his contract will continue after he retires, and it goes with Shohei Ohtani's contract, which really doesn't kick in till post-retirement.
That's right.
So, baseball
heavily
loves
back-ended.
Baseball loves a future problem. Hopefully, we'll have money by
it's
then.
Just monopoly money in 15 years' time, isn't
exactly. And the TV deals will keep increasing. We'll keep making money, and it'll be a future problem. So, it's an interesting way to do it. And not like how the, say, NBA and NFL does it, where you're getting paid while you play, essentially, and you don't get paid afterwards.
Also have max contracts in the NBA. Not really in the NFL, but essentially with the cap, they are maxing out at about $50 million a year. He's from the Dominican Republic as well. So nice story for someone to come from not a lot to be worth one day over $1 billion Australian dollars. It's incredible. Also interesting, so the teams that he's played at, Washington Nationals, San Diego Padres, and New York Yankees. Half of New York will be loving this, and half of New York will be very, very upset, I think, with the Mets pinching him to go over to Long Island and play out the next decade and a half as a Met.
Yep. What about you, Peppy?
Mate, this guy's getting a fair run in Shouter Beers recently.
Maybe kid.
Yeah, it's a problem. We need to shout him a nice non-alcoholic maybe, because he's only 16. Gwat. I think we've looked into the pronunciation. I hope that we're saying it right now. Spelt English phonetically, gout. And I think his dad come out and said it's Gwat. Anyways, Gwat run 20:04 seconds at the final of this year's Australian All Schools Championship. It broke a record which has stood, an Australian record, since the Olympic Games back in Mexico City. When were they, you ask? 1968. So 56-year-old record. Pretty incredible considering the kid is only 16. It's going to be a fair bit of pressure, I think, for him to sort of deal with as he comes into his later teen years. But he's obviously got incredible talent, and watching the highlights, can barely see second place. As he's coming.
He's almost got 10 yards on him. So, I think Was it? I think it was for the 200. So like at the Sydney Olympic Games, he would have won.
Crazy.
And he would have finished 6th in Paris.
Wow.
So like he's putting up some good times. His 100-meter times were pretty good.
Yeah.
He did that 10.04 with a illegal wind in the heats, and then a 10.17 in the final to win again by about 10 meters on this competition.
You feel pretty stiff as a 16-year-old kid's about to break 10 seconds.
Yeah,
so, I'm sure we'll be talking about that when that happens.
But he's really back-end track as well. Like his first 30, 40 meters is pretty slow, like getting into his stride. But once he's in
who does that remind you of?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a big tall guy called Bolt who used to not be great out of the blocks.
Exactly.
So.
But that's where you've got all that work for potential improvement. You can see that, he could definitely get faster, which is wild. He can definitely get bigger and stronger because of that age as he becomes more of a man. So, he's going to be a lot on his shoulders, a lot of people looking at it. But Australian athletics, actually, because there was a few others. There's a few girls that ran really well. There's, I think, another guy that ran pretty well, I think, in the 400. Some talk about he could also run the 400. Maybe he could be like 100, 200, 400. Again,
very hard to do.
Yeah, exactly. Getting ahead of ourselves, but he's got that stride, I think, that's kind of pretty universal to be able to do those distances. But, look out for maybe not the next Olympics, but the one down here. That's
well, there's no reason why you can't be running finals, I think, as a 20-year-old in LA. So, and then, we've got, it'll have 8 years. It'll be 24 for Brisbane.
It's crazy.
Queenslander too.
Crazy, yep.
All right, mop of the week. This is a bit of a funny story.
Yep.
Brett Lee was bowling in a KO.
I think it was a KO ad.
Yep. And it hit the stump, and then it's got Mark Howard of Howie Games and commentary fame smacking the melon.
Yes. Well, he's taken the top of the bail off, and Howard has gloved the bail. Has gloved the ball. So he caught the ball well. It looked like Howard had some decent binger pace on it. Maybe not his top shelf stuff, but enough to knock the bail off, and the bail's come flying back and hit Howard straight in the forehead, kind of like spearing or stabbing him. Impaled is the word they've used there.
Love a bit of mayo on the old Fox Sports headlines. Watch the moment Howie was impaled by Brett Lee.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But he's ended up with a decent amount of claret coming off the forehead.
Yep.
And then if you're watching in the KO coverage, you would have seen him with
a few stitches.
I think he got stitches, but it was definitely bandaged up, and you could see that. So that came from a very rare, if never happened, where Bale's come flying back and hit the keeper in the head. I guess he's fielding a bit closer than you.
I think it's happened a fair bit in cricket for it to happen in a KO promo. It's the first time
a bit funny,
that it's happened.
But of course, it had to be Brett Lee bowling some thunderbolts.
Yeah, I just wish he impaled Piers Morgan back in the day. He did give him a few good ones, but I think Piers was able to walk away unscathed.
Yes.
That does lead us into some cricket chat. We'll spend a good 40 minutes, I'd say, on the start of
we'll see how we go.
this
We love it.
With Australia and India.
Kick us off.
So the second test, it only lasted 2.5 days, but it was full of action, lots of wickets, lots of swing, and a big 100 from Travis Head. Let's have a look at how it started off. So Josh Hazlewood ruled out pre-game or in the week leading up with a side strain. Sean Abbott, Brendan Doggett come into the squad, but I think a lot of people were thinking if the big Scobo was ready to go, he'd get the nod, and he slotted straight in and didn't look out of place, did he?
Didn't at all. And Marsh also had a bit of niggle as well, so they brought in Bo Webster as some coverage there too. And there was some talk about how much he would bowl, but I guess in a 2.5 day test, didn't need him a whole lot. But just another thing to note as we go into the next test. They're a bit banged up. And I guess for Hazlewood, that probably leads to our previous comment why Marnus was probably bowling a little bit quicker than him in that first test. Was dealing with a side strain.
Yeah, so hopefully Marshy's feeling 100%. It's an interesting sort of kettle of fish, isn't it? Because if you're picking Mitch Marsh just as a stick, does that open up a conversation for others? I think maybe not, but we'll see. Let's hope he's.
There was one bloke that hit a ton that we hadn't talked about. Playing against the India squad, that is there waiting to bang the door down for anyone that has any lapses in form.
You're referring to young Sam Constas?
Yes.
Turned up in the PM's 11 last weekend. Rain affected 2-day game in Canberra, so they just played a 50 over game. And it was against a
pretty quality.
fairly quality lineup. No Boomer, of course. That's obviously the big caveat. But yeah, Sammy Constas, I think the question is starting to become when, not if.
I agree.
Going to play for Australia. Shout out to Curtis Patterson as well, who has only played 2 tests, I think back in 2019, turned up in one of them. He's been making runs for fun in the Shield as well. So a few guys starting to really bang down the door.
Yes.
India, on the other hand, they had 3 changes. Rohit Sharma comes back into the squad and Shubman Gill. They both come in after their injuries. And Ravi Ashwin comes in for Washington Sundar.
Who the batsmen replace?
So Gaikwad missed out and the debutant from the Gabba. Names escapes me.
Yes. Yeah. But Sharma fit, where did he bat, 5?
Sharma in at 5, yeah. So there's a bit of sort of conjecture there as to what was going to happen, and I think he'd sort of said, "No, I'm going to bat in the middle order." Rahul, Rahul and Jaiswal look pretty good in the West Test, that's for sure.
So it might generate some interesting questions for that 3rd test, but we will get into the game. What happened?
India win the toss. Good toss to win, you'd think, in the pink ball test. They get skittled for 180. A lot of it off the back of Mitch Stark. His
loves a pink ball.
Pink ball record is crazy. I'm going to try and find that now. And what a better way to start a test match for an Aussie fan at least than a wicket first ball. And YB Jaiswal obviously lit the Aussies alight in that second innings back in Perth. So to get him cheaply was a really good start. Seems to be he's a gets out early or makes big hundreds type operator.
Yeah.
So massive wicket there.
Yeah, and I guess it was a bit interesting with the you're not bowling fast enough comment following on from the first test to get a good swinging fireball first ball up.
It was plum as well.
Very plum, golden duck.
Yeah.
In a way, there's not much more golden than that.
And then I tell you what, KL Rahul had a bit of luck. So Scotty Boland's first ball.
No ball.
Yeah, got him not dismissed off a no ball, and then he got dropped a few balls later by Uzi. Tough-ish chance diving to his right. Didn't really make us pay. You're watching that, you think, oh, this bloke's going to score 100 now for sure.
Yes.
Made 37, and then some big wickets in the middle order with Gill and Coley going relatively cheaply. So getting into that middle order, we've had this happen before.
Yep.
It's early wickets, in recent test matches against India.
Yeah,
there's always someone that makes us pay. Often it's Pant, often it's been the bowlers.
Or Jadeja,
Jadeja and Ashwin, etc. And Sharma we'll get to in a minute. Didn't cash him. This young Nitish Reddy seems like he's
been really good.
Yeah,
across
make a few runs. Yeah.
He's scored over 40, I think, in every one.
Dismissed for 42 in both of these innings. So probably waiting to see probably a big ton from him, but it didn't happen in this game. It was really all Mitch Stark, 6 for 48. His pink ball record is incredible. 72 wickets in his pink ball career, averaged 17.8. So
crazy.
He's the king of the pink ball. That is for sure.
So do you think they should have a Ashes pink ball test?
Well, they have.
Well, I didn't think they were playing.
It was India that was holding out. I think this is the first pink ball against India.
Sure. Are you sure they're playing a day-night test for the Ashes next year?
Pretty sure. Ashes, pink ball next year. They've had them in the past too.
Don't believe everything you're in comment.
It's India that were holding out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so they
wait. Where is it though? Is it in Adelaide?
Yeah, I think that might have moved. It might be in Brisbane.
It might be Brisbane
next year.
Yeah. Okay. The Adelaide pink ball record for Australia is very, very good.
We haven't lost.
Yes.
Yeah. So a week and a bit ago, I was like, oh, geez, the records are made to be broken.
Yes.
Didn't show much in Perth, but keep the very tidy pink ball record intact at Adelaide Oval.
Yep.
You skittle them for 180. You think, oh, gosh, it's the third session. The lights are coming on. The ball's been hooping.
Please don't be 5 down by the end of the night.
Yeah. It's almost like that sort of, do we skittle them now or what do we do? And you need to have faith in your top order.
Exactly.
And
it's very hard to have faith in our top order, but yeah.
Yeah, over the last 18 months, that's for sure. But young Nathan McSweeney, he made 39. you don't normally write home about 39, but I think just getting into day 2, seeing off that pink ball at his home ground.
Any double-digit runs is good for a top order at this stage.
Just surviving to day 2. Looked to play his shots as well, and he got a pretty good one as well for him to go for 39. Interesting as well, 3 South Australians in the lineup as per Perth. Yes, before Perth, it had been a long time since there was 3 South Aussies in the team. All right, the bloke that had the old proverbial monkey scratching it on his back.
The big microscope.
Minus Labuschagne, made 64.
64.
Looked like he was on for a score even bigger, but you take that. We spoke on the last pod about how 9 of his last 10 test knocks have been single digits. So you definitely take 50. And I think
getting some runs. Hopefully that's a start for him in this series.
Yeah, and some confidence.
Good summer, yeah.
Some confidence. Yeah. The Australian public tends to be pretty quick to turn on its former beloved sons. Good to see Marnus make a few, and hopefully we see more of that coming into these back 3.
Yeah, a note for future, the guy we skipped over though, Aussie, didn't get too many runs in the start there.
We'll get to Aussie in a second because there's a few droughts ongoing.
Years.
And then we spoke about how India's middle orders made us pay in the past. This guy and India getting a few wickets early, he is just making him pay in the middle order. Travis Head,
especially at home in Adelaide.
likes playing here in Adelaide, but he also likes playing in ODI World Cups in India. He also likes playing in World Test Championships in England. The bloke is liking playing for Australia and playing against India.
Yep.
So 3 massive hundreds for him in the past 18 months, let's call it, all at crucial moments. World Test Championship, ODI World Cup, and 1-0 down. I feel like if we go 2-0 down in this, it's close to impossible to come back from.
Yes, yeah. And then all those concerns and potential changes we're talking about, it's all everyone's talking about. So they needed to right the ship, and Travis Head did the job for us. Plays
his natural game, plays straight, hits sixes on those big straight boundaries there at Adelaide, plays off his pads well. Had a tiny bit of luck. He wasn't getting dropped off regulation catches, but there was a few where he schnicked over the slips, and there was one that actually they took out first slip and it went right between the keeper and second slip.
Yep.
You also make your own luck. I think in making a runner ball 140 was incredible to watch from Travis Head. A lot of the talking points since the 100 were what happened in the exact moments after he got bowled.
Yep.
So the over leading into this, he'd taken Siraj for a 4 and a 6. He'd been playing well against Siraj.
Yeah, they were trying to put the hammer down a little bit to get into the evening session essentially, so that they could come out and bowl.
Got a good ball, in-swinging Yorker to the left-hander, cleans up his leg peg. Siraj gives him what looked like a stare down.
Yep.
I don't know if there was words said from Siraj. The camera certainly didn't pick it up. Certainly picked up some words said from Travis.
Posts. So, because it kind of went stare down. Travis said, I well bowled.
That's what he said.
And Muhammad's kind of taken that maybe sarcastically because he's just been smacking him around everywhere.
All over the park.
Yeah. So he's gone, sending him off to the sheds. It's like, get on your bike, off you go. And then Travis has given him a very Australian response to that.
Yeah.
Fuck you, see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, look, the stump mic didn't pick it up.
I was clear as day.
We might need to get some of the world's best lip readers in to see exactly what came out of his mouth.
No, we'll get some 5-year-olds and they'll tell you exactly what he said.
Says something about the kindergartens in Australia, I think, at the moment, perhaps.
Yeah, pretty much.
What's your feelings on this? I'll let you know mine after.
I think Muhammad was definitely fired up. He got the wicket. Travis probably didn't do anything, didn't deserve to have that kind of send-off.
No, I didn't think so.
And he gave a decent response in return.
I tend to agree. What world do you live in if you've just been smacked and the bloke's really put, Australia on his shoulders again?
Yeah.
And I get there's passion and, we see a different Indian side.
Yes.
Possibly modelled on old Australian sides of yesteryear, that like to give it back and be fiery.
But you've also just had your ass handed to you for the last couple of
sessions. You've been smacked around the park. Yeah. You've been getting launched back over your head.
Yeah.
Playing some incredible shots. I think that's where you just go, okay, little nod of the head, off he goes, let him celebrate. the 100.
And overall, he hadn't bowled particularly well up to that point either. So
ended up getting a few with the tail.
Yes, yeah.
So
Boomerang has taken all the headlines, and he's playing second fiddle in the shadows.
Yeah, well, definitely. It was Bumrah really that put India on his back with the ball, at least in the West Test. So Mohammad Siraj probably finding himself as being one of the most disliked people in Australia right now.
Definitely got the big villain arc. And there was a few things that's like celebrating wickets without appealing and then not getting any of them as well.
Yeah,
there was a few of them as well.
That was a good one. It wasn't plumb either. It looked pretty high.
Yeah.
So, he ran about 3/4 of the way through a sharp punt before turning around for it to not get given out and not get reviewed.
Yeah.
It was flying over.
Yeah. I think a bit of it from his angle probably was frustration as well. Like he's been struggling and that, and he's taken his frustrations out on Travis Head, which had the better of him. And if you take the sportsman side of it, it's not in the spirit of cricket. We'll happily back Travis Head
100%
in this scenario.
And it's going to really add some spice leading into the Gabba test. Certainly, I'd imagine the crowd to get pretty vocal when Siraj has got the ball.
Well, he got booed for the rest of the game
essentially,
every time he touched the ball.
It didn't take him long, the Adelaide faithful, especially on,
against Travis, their
favourite son. He's just had a baby. He's done the baby celebration when he smacked you all around the park for a run a ball 100. I think he's going to cop a bit of stick going into Brisbane.
There'll be a question whether he's actually in that squad.
I think he will be.
What about? Oh, there's Shami.
Yeah.
There's some talk about him and Sharma not seeing eye to eye. There's been a bit of a falling out with the captain because he's supposedly got a knee injury, but he says he's fine. He's ready to go.
Some of it might come down to the health of Jasprit Bumrah as well, which we'll get to.
Yes.
So India have to go out and bat. Again, not the most favourable circumstances. They make 175. It was Pat Cummins that did the damage. Some really sweet balls in his 5 for 57. Paddy Cummins doesn't want to be second fiddle when it comes to pink ball tests to Mitch Stark. He's also pretty handy with the pink ball himself.
It definitely lends itself to the quicks. Boland was pretty solid as well throughout as well. He didn't get the massive amount of wickets the other two did, but I think he chipped in for 3 in both innings. So
3 and 2 maybe. Yeah.
So he did the job he was asked to do.
100%. How good is the plug and play, next man up attitude with Scotty Boland? We've asked him to do this time and time again.
Well, he seems to also, again, it's usually for Hazelwood because they have a very similar sort of style.
Yeah, 100%.
So, that also works really well for the overall makeup of the team. He can just fit in and do that role. He knows that role.
Yep.
He's not having to come in and say replace Stark, who's got a
thunderbolt left armour.
Yeah, exactly.
Who swings the ball a
different
mile with the pink ball. Yeah, exactly right.
So I think it makes it very easy for him to slide in there, and he's done a job for us.
So 2 for 54 he had in the first innings, and let me scroll here. 3 for 51. So five in the Test match. Certainly fit a role, and it's hard because you feel for the bloke. If Hazelwood's fit, he probably goes back to carrying the drinks. But we'd like to see a bit more cricket out of old Scotty Boland. It will sort of be pending the fitness of the old bush horse Josh Hazelwood as we go into the Gabba.
Agree.
So 175 just had to go out there and make 19 runs. They didn't lose a wicket. Australia win by 10 wickets. Get, I think, the public scrutiny off their back for the time being.
At least a little while, yeah.
Speaking of scrutiny, should we...
Well, I did want to ask you this question about with the lot of wickets, because the first test itself also was heading probably towards like a 3-day test before India kind of dug in and batted a bit longer. And it's interesting with, say, the over rates in both games and also in the England game against New Zealand. There's been a lot of talk about over rate and how low it is. I think 172 overs were bowled in this game, and they were, you're meant to do 90 a day, aren't you? So that's 180, plus we had half a session. So they're probably 40-odd overs short of where they are.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So you got a lot of overs from the quicks.
Yes. So my question is the slow over rate leading to more wickets because there's not a lot more opportunities to see the ball, like leaving the ball? So, like, in my head, I'm thinking, like, hey, if you can see 100 balls, you might want to leave 40. And, say that's in an hour. But in the same hour now, if the slow over rate, you're getting 60, you can't leave 40 balls because you can only hit 20.
Yeah, I see where
so
you're
like
from.
you're forcing there's less opportunities to score runs. The runs aren't ticking over.
Yep.
So you're throwing the bat at stuff that maybe you shouldn't be. I kind of think of with how Kohler got out, playing a ball he doesn't need to play at all, having his bat where he doesn't need it. If the rate's not so slow, is he can just like, I'll leave. I'm folding hands here, waiting until I get something that I think is hittable. But with the slow over rates, it's like I don't have that many opportunities to leave. I can see the rates.
Yeah.
The hours are ticking by and the runs aren't moving, and I'm not really seeing many rocks happen.
I think it all depends on the match situation. If they're getting really clamped down, runs are hard to come by, a fast over rate's not necessarily the best thing.
No, but I agree. I think it's very much gone. It seems like the tactic that everyone's doing. Because it makes a lot of
fielding team is
exactly it's way more beneficial for the fielding team to bowl slow.
Yeah,
and that's why
you were saying the other.
No, and that's what's leading to a lot of the wickets.
Yeah.
So I can see why the penalties. I know Ben Stokes was coming out and saying, they're getting penalised for slow over rate, and it's just like, well, it was 2 whole days that weren't played. It was also like, your game went too quick though, and you didn't bowl enough overs in the days you were playing. I'm kind of starting to think that maybe that's leading to these shorter test matches.
Yeah, I think it's one part of a funny conundrum that we're dealing with in the last sort of 5 years.
Yeah.
Because I spoke about the change in ball to the newish cricket kookaburra over the last sort of 4 years.
Because I feel like we're seeing a lot more 3-day tests.
I think
in
the
last
decks
couple of days
as well.
Yep.
They're not just dishing up 5 roads or trying to make them as conducive to
True.
batting conditions.
Yeah, have something to bat for the first couple of days and then cracks up. Yes. Yeah. Because I do have a wild take that if that's the way cricket's going to go, do you not play Nathan Lyon and play, say, Bo Webster? Because Nathan Lyon bowled 1 over in that second innings and 5 in the first. He's really not doing much in this. He had to bowl a lot in the first test match. But that was also because India got in, and by that point, we'd lost the match.
Yeah.
So if Nathan Lyon's having to bowl, we've already lost. It's kind of what I'm getting. Kind of thinking, I was just do we need more sticks? Like, if that, it might be early to say this, but if this is the way Test cricket's going, is it more you want more guys like Marsh and Webster, where it's you're playing a faster Test match, so you want more quick bowlers to take advantage of the 3-day test.
Yeah, I think you're setting yourself up to really cook all your quicks if you were to leave.
Hence why I'm saying it's like you're bringing in an extra stick so you can bat. Because your more wickets are falling, so you got extra batters, and then also you cover with more quicks so you can bowl more quick overs.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
So I'm again, maybe I'm 2 or 3 years ahead of the curve here, but
we'll see.
But from what you're seeing is your slow over rates, lots of wickets, and you're like, and then you look at the test matches and you're just like, well, in those ones we're winning very quickly, Lyon's doing nothing, and the ones we're losing, he's having to bowl a lot, and it's just like, well, at that point we're already lost. So he's like, it's an interesting. I don't think there's no world you can drop Nathan Lyon going into the next test match, but I think it's
certainly
just
not in Brisbane. If there's anywhere to do it and not play a specialist spinner, it's in these day-night tests.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think you're really setting yourself up,
which I thought was interesting.
A lot of danger
that they dropped Washington and brought Ashwin in as well. I thought there was. But Ashwin was kind of a little bit in the media as well. It's like I should be playing. So
probably,
So,
It's hard because the depth of Indian cricket's insane. That they can leave guys like Jadeja and Ashwin out of that first test. But it's to your point as well. The all round capabilities of the Indians have won them test matches before.
Yep.
When we've been on top, Pfeiffer and Jadeja goes out and scores a ton, or Ashwin scores a ton, and you're like, fuck, they're batting down to 9.
Yes, I agree.
But again, going back to and
I think we're also kind of sort of dabbled with that. With
Cummins and Stark.
Yeah, and we're Green and having Green and Marsh in the squad as well. You kind of already seeing that. And you look at what the English are kind of doing as well. They've got guys that can bat and bowl as well. Like Stokes doesn't bowl as much as he used to, but they have that capability. And I think there just seems to be more of bat as deep as you can and try to get as many wickets early. Because the deeper you go into the test match, the more likely you're actually losing. So, it's interesting. And, with the prevalence of all the shorter formats of cricket, it feels to me like it's bleeding into test cricket.
Yeah.
And you're seeing a lot more short test matches than we have in the past.
And I don't think there's any arguing that.
Yeah.
There's a massive influence from T20 cricket. That's 100%.
And for me, the worst thing would be if it kills spin cricket, essentially.
Spinners
off because
they won't die.
I'm not die, but it's like there's not a preference for it because you want
for a specialist spinner that can't bat.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I would hate to see the end of Ashwin and Lyon as the last of that sort of generation.
Well, Ashwin can bat, I suppose. That's the thing.
Yeah, true.
And Gary's...
He's not too bad. He can get double digits.
100%. He can get 50 on multiple occasions. It'll be interesting. We watch this space. I'd be surprised if we see the death of the specialist spinner, but in certain circumstances...
I'm not saying anytime recent, but you get that inkling that stuff's a changing.
The times are a changing.
Yeah.
We've spoken a lot about bowlers. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a bit about the sticks.
Sticks.
You got a list here. Innings since the last Test century. Usman Khawaja, 26. That's the longest drought of his career. Yep. Steve Smith, 24. That's the longest drought of his career.
Did carry his bat, though.
Yeah, big caveat on that one.
Yep.
So not really his fault that he ran out of partners in that Test against the West Indies earlier in the year. Marsh, 20 knocks now without a ton. And Labuschagne, who seems to have all the recent pressure on him, is 19, albeit in that 19, I think he only reached 50 once.
Yep.
Test batting average in 2024, Labuschagne is averaging 20.4. Mitch Marsh...
It's a big tick up, though, from his 64.
That's including the recent 64.
Yeah, I think he was at the bottom of that list before then.
Mitch Marsh, 26. Usman Khawaja, a tick under 25. Steve Smith, 23.
Yeah, he didn't have a good Test match for this one. He got 2, didn't he? So.
Yeah, his form of late, it's starting to worry me a bit. Is he losing a bit of his hand-eye? His technique, when he came into the game, a lot of people thought, no, you can't be an elite Test batsman with that technique. You've got to respect your,
you've got to be a generational talent to be able to do that. And he did it for a long time. So.
Fucking oath he did.
but also...
He still averages 58 in Test cricket.
Yeah, yes. But he still...
Let that sink in.
Yeah.
So the people that are getting on the Drop Smith bandwagon, I think just need to pump their brakes and have a look at the blokes Manhattan.
So I think... my point in this is I don't think the microscope's kind of moved to him. I think Aussie might be the one that's kind of concerned. One, because of his age, and two, because his recent form hasn't been super great. And three, we just talked about the young fella who's scoring tons opening. Might be close to, do you move the old fella on at some point and bring the young kid in? Maybe not for this series. Maybe this is the last series for Usman. You think of what you kind of... Because what is he? Is he 37?
37.
Yeah. So you wouldn't expect many more summers of cricket.
Yep.
And especially with maybe one young fella really knocking the door down to say, hey, I'm here, I'm ready. I was very interested to see what they do against that in that PM's 11. And, you get an opportunity and you go out there and hit 100 against a very quality attack when your other openers... are struggling. So it does raise a lot of questions. And you throw in a few of those age things as well, and you're like,
Father Time gets us all. And then Uzi, from an age perspective, clearly has the least Test cricket left ahead of him. But we're also not that far removed from him being the highest Test scorer in a calendar year.
Yep.
So, again, the short-term memory seems to come to the forefront of everyone's mind very, very quickly, and that's our 2024.
Exactly. That was like, Mana scored runs. Who's the next one we need to target?
It's a joke. It's a joke, man.
It's just like, just be happy we won the game. But, that's the first thing they go to is like, all right, Manas is feeling a bit better. Who's the weak link, essentially, in this squad?
But why? Why do you need to think like that? They just won a Test by 10 wickets.
I don't know.
Like, I can see where you're coming from. Like, if you're thinking about the Ashes next year.
That was going to be my follow-up question. It's like, do you think Aussie should play the Ashes next year?
Well, we'll make that decision in 12 months' time.
Yeah.
I see where you're going, because this is what the Australian public does like to do.
Yes.
And, they've got memory like goldfish, a lot of them. And, yes, the man is 37 years of age. But, there's an old adage in cricket that you don't change a winning team. They've just won a Test by 10 wickets.
Yep.
Okay. Really, it's off the back of
Travis Head and Boland.
Cummins and Stark.
Yep.
Okay, and then a few contributions from Marnus and Scotty Boland.
Scotty Boland.
Yep. Okay, but it's a team game.
Yep.
It's a team game. They play as a team. They win
Nathan Lyon fielded for all that whole game.
Exactly. They win together as a team. They lose together as a team. I think if the four aforementioned blokes don't make any runs for the whole series, I think then we have the conversation.
Yep. Yeah. If Constance keeps scoring runs in the Shield.
Yeah, he's starting to bang the door down, and that's the difference, I suppose, where we're at now than where we were a few months ago when people are starting to hear about this kid. No,
he's doing well in Shield cricket, but every opportunity he seems to be grabbing it with the reins and taking it, and we like to see that.
Yeah.
So I think there's talk about the future.
Yep.
Post India, before Ashes, do we play any Test cricket?
Sri Lanka. Take him over.
Just Josh Lang. Oh, are we playing? Which was the one they increased to a 3 Test series?
I think it's just 2 in Sri Lanka.
I think they might have bumped that up to. There's one that was 2 and they bumped it up to 3 to make it an actual series.
Okay, let me have a look.
Because in my head I had West Indies, but I don't think it was. I think you might be right for Sri Lanka.
They definitely go. No, it's just two tests over there.
What else are we playing? Anything else in 2025?
Yeah, there'll be something in the middle. Australian Test cricket schedule. So what are you saying here? You blood guys in series that don't mean as much?
Well, exactly. If you're going to rest maybe some of your bowlers.
If they don't do it in Sri Lanka, it's the Ashes.
It's the Ashes. Yeah, okay. Oh, hold on. Go back to that. Was there
expanding it?
One? No, there is 3 games. See, I told you.
That's an ODI, dude.
Oh, I can't read.
So there's
what's post the Ashes then? I swear they during the weekday. No, it doesn't have it there.
So there's no Test cricket from February, possibly the 10th, when the second Sri Lanka Test finishes, up until November, which again blows my mind that they're going to go that long into an Ashes series.
And how we talked about maybe they play too much international cricket on the last potty, like hey they need
meaningless white ball series, like the 3-match.
Well, they're doing it as well, but maybe they're just playing too much cricket, so they don't want to play as much long format, more stress. My counterpoint to that is England.
Yeah, 100%. England have done it forever.
Yeah, I think they played. I don't want to say they played 19 Test matches this year.
No, it's like 15 or so, yeah.
But I feel like it's a lot.
Yeah,
and we've played 6
in the calendar year. So we've got the New Year's Test, Brisbane. I think we had 3 there, and then we had 2 against New Zealand, and then nothing. So there's 7. I think it's 7 tests. Yeah. So I think this is going into 8.
Yeah, so England played over double of what we have.
Yeah. So
I don't.
But England also have a different sort of approach in that a lot of their Test cricketers aren't playing in their high end white ball. Yeah. Teams.
Well, they're playing, I guess, less of those meaningless white ball games, and their focus is more on Test
they'll schedule series like that run into each other.
Yeah.
Like there's times when their T20 team's playing against the West Indies or something, and then they're playing Test cricket against India at the same time.
They guess they get crowds in England. People want to come up and watch cricket. So
yeah, we're getting crowds here. Mm-hmm. Boxing Day's already sold out, day 1.
Yes.
We'll got to wait 2 weeks, and then the best day of the year is upon us. Looking at that, it's underwhelming, of course, to have 4 guys in our top 6, and then obviously you've only got Travis Head. We haven't spoken about there, and
Mick Sweeney's the young fella. So
and Carey is not on that list because he's going okay too.
He's been going okay, yeah.
But I think they've still got 3 tests left in this series, and have the conversation for going into Sri Lanka if needs be.
Yep, I agree. India on the other side.
Yeah, well, you can imagine the weight of 28 people, in the comments or on dumb podcasts or whatever, the head noise that could create potentially. Imagine if it's 1.4 billion people.
Yep.
Rohit Sharma comes back in the team, the captain, coming back from a hammy injury, I believe it was.
Yep.
You've got here his last 12 innings yielded 142 runs at an average of 12.9.
Yes. So his form hasn't been great. That Aaron Finch quote from commentary was a bit scathing.
So I've got in air quotes here, so you've got to believe it. Last time I saw Rohit Sharma perform in Australia, I was yet to make my debut for Australia.
Yeah. So there was a lot of questions about his captaincy as well, because they seemed a little bit more aggressive in Perth with Bumrah at the helm, because there's a lot of talk that they really did nothing for Travis Head, kind of just let Travis play his natural game. They weren't bowling short at his head enough. Should have bounced him more potentially. So there was a lot of talk about his captaincy and how they played more of a defensive game than attacking that Bumrah had brought to them. So a lot of questions, and then also his form. Should he even be in the squad? And another changing of the guard question as well, because how old's he now? 37. So right at that prime kind of retire cricket age. How much longer he's going to go, especially with the amount of young fellas they've got knocking down the door at the moment. Yeah,
the difference with that they've got is their batting stocks are pretty crazy.
Yes.
Like they have a lot of guys that can really slot in there and do a job. And
two guys missed out from the first test. So,
and I am like when we're talking about Marnus and he's averaging 28, yes, inflated off the last innings. We're talking about less than half.
Yep.
A bloke, cruising around at 13 in his last 12 innings, a few injuries and that. I think we might be seeing possibly the last series of Rohit Sharma.
Yep.
Get at us in the comments. I don't know what the news is like in India, what the feeling is like. I'm sure you get people from both camps like we do here.
Well, there's I think a few India greats kind of gone after him, especially for that defensive captaincy kind of mark that they kind of really let the Australians get away from them and should have been probably more aggressive. You guess again, go back to our previous point, it's a pink ball test. So it should be a fast bowler's paradise. Be aggressive in your fields and go after the Australians.
Which is probably a good segue into the next topic of conversation.
Yes.
If your best fast bowler is maybe not at his best physically, we saw Jasprit Bumrah bowling a touch slower than what he was bowling in Perth and didn't look to be having the Australians shitting their pants essentially every time he was coming into bowl.
Yep.
That's a massive, massive question mark. If he is not ready to go in 2.5 days.
Do we know what? What's he struggling with? Is it hamstrings or
it looked like maybe hammy low back. I think they've kept it pretty tight.
Hush.
Yeah, let's see what the internet is saying here. And their fast bowling depth is probably not the same as ours. So would like to see Akash Deep or a guy like that, if they could come in, no one's going to fill his shoes.
No, he's the best bowler in Test cricket at the moment.
The world, yeah. Fitness Cloud, let's have a look here, showed their hand because he was getting treatment on the field as well, which I found to be a little bit interesting.
Yeah, well, that probably leads to maybe some tightness, so could be more hamstrings then.
Trying to get this video to load here. It looks like hammy.
And they're saying Mohammed was also
workload management. Bumrah did spend time with the team's strength and conditioning coach.
Be interested to see what they were working on.
And then when quizzed, it's all good. I'm going to the gym. So both of them have pulled up sore.
Yeah.
Look, you never want a guy to miss a game from an injury, but that changes the whole dynamics of the series if he's not ready to go.
Mm-hmm. So who bowled in that PM's 11 game? Let
me find that one.
Squad.
I think
because I think Shami bowled in that, didn't he?
Yeah, him and Akash Deep and maybe Rana. Yeah, let me have a look here. PM's 11. Got it here. India did win that game. We spoke all about Constas and how good he was with the bat. Unfortunately, not many of the other not many of the other Aussies were able to chip in.
In fact, I was hoping to see Goodwin probably bat a little bit more, but he got out too early.
Yeah, he's been going good, young Jaden Goodwin. So some runs from Hanno Jacobs down the bottom of the order there, batting 9. Luckily to stick around with Costas. So Mo Siraj, Akash Deep, Harshit Rana, we had all of them. And then it was Prasid Krishna, who's also in their test squad, obviously.
So Shami didn't play in that game.
Did you say Shami?
Yeah.
It was Siraj.
Siraj played in that game,
yeah. That's why he's so fired up. He needs a rest, mate. He needs a rest. And then some pretty handy spinners there, Sundar and Jadeja, and seeing a little bit of Reddy with the ball, which we haven't really seen in these 2 test matches just yet.
Be interesting to see.
Yeah, the next 48 hours will be interesting from a who's fit perspective. Is Hazelwood fit and is Jasprit Bumrah fit? Mm-hmm. And for us, I think we can comfortably, like for like, replace Hazelwood. I think for them, it's a much bigger issue.
Yeah, so I think going into the Gabba R11 will be the same, barring if, say, Hazelwood says he's healthy, he probably comes straight back in for bowling, but if not, they'll probably be the exact same squad. India, maybe they tweak their batting lineup. I don't think anyone will get dropped, but maybe they might reorder it.
What? Sharma, who's struggling batting 5 to go up to the face a new ball.
Yeah, we'll go back to his more natural position where he has succeeded.
Yeah.
There is some of that, but I kind of...
I don't see that happening.
I'm neither, but there's a lot of rhetoric. And, what's the best lineup for us? How do we protect the young fellas? How do we also, get the old heads that are kind of haven't been batting their best? Outside of the 100 for Cole, he hasn't had a great year either. So, it's just what's the right dynamic there? And then, of course, what's the right bowling lineup? Does Ashwin get another gig?
Yeah, that's...
Or is it Jadeja now come in and get his test match?
Who knows? Yeah, when they've got Jadu that's just sitting there ready to rip and tear. Yep. Who knows? I can't answer for the Indians. They've just...
Plus, if they have to rest two of their fast bowlers too. So,
it'll be interesting to see.
Tough test at the Gabba.
We'll
see if they're afraid of it or not.
2.5 days. Yeah, that aged well. An old video of ours right before Washington Sundar smacked us around the park and they won.
And Dadu killed us, I think. So.
Very much so. Somewhere in another... We're done talking about the cricket?
We're finished with Australia-India, so let's go to Australia-India.
The girls are on at the moment. Just wanted to shout out the Aussie girls. They're up to zip and they're about to possibly win again here.
They're in a tight match at the moment.
Yeah.
Because 230 from 221. They're probably right on pace. India.
With nine in hand. So need a few wickets.
Yes, it'll be a close game.
Annabelle Sutherland turned up in this one. She is playing lights out. So shout out to you, Annabelle. And Todd Greenberg going to be...
Yeah, so we've been talking about money and, how much cricket they play and what type of crickets they play and what the cash dollars that go with it. The news recently that Todd Greenberg, and you probably remember the name because he headed up NRL, and did he head up the A-League as well at some point?
I believe, yeah, both.
Yeah, so kind of following the David Galt model, if you will, is now going to be CEO for Cricket Australia. So, what does that mean? He'll be part of that whole scheduling process, but also growing the game, TV deals, et cetera, that'll be in his remit and now as the CEO of Cricket Australia.
Maybe he didn't do the A-League.
Maybe it's Dave Gallup I'm thinking of.
Yeah, maybe it was Gallup.
Yeah, Gallup definitely did A-League. I just couldn't remember if he followed him or not.
Greenberg has done Canterbury in the NRL, and then he became the general manager of Stadium Australia.
Yep.
And then CEO of Canterbury.
He also represented Australian cricket too. That's what that first thing there.
What are you talking about? In cricket at 2 editions of the Makibia Games, an international multi-sport event for Jewish athletes.
There you go.
Well, yeah, it is.
He has a cricket background. There you go.
I was like, this is news to me.
Yeah.
This is news to me. Well, good on you, Todd, for your cricketing achievements back in the past. It will be interesting. So obviously an elite sports administrator across multiple sports, and we'll see how he's going to go as the CEO. He's already been in cricket for a few years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was in the Australia Cricket Association, but now he's the Cricket Australia CEO.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's confused me. Good there.
Yeah.
So from the ACA to
the CA.
Cricket Australia.
Yes.
I was like, this isn't news at all. Very good. I wish you all the best, Todd, in running the game and continuing to fight for Test cricket.
Please put some Test cricket in the middle of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, probably.
When we lead into England and India, preferably.
Preferably, yes.
Speaking of England, they're going pretty good over there in New Zealand. They're up to zip. Won the first test there in Christchurch. Kane Williamson made a few. He made 93 in the first innings, and in the second innings, you got the Goku shirt on. Is that Goku?
Yes.
I'm not a big Dragon Ball Z guy. He's over 9,000. He's over 9,000 test runs, by far the most by any New Zealander. You'd expect him to hit the...
it's good seeing him back playing good cricket.
Yeah. Yeah, back after the ACL and not being present for their demolition job, really, of India a few months ago.
It's interesting, their record, because I think they were 0-3, 0-3, 3-0 in India, and now they're 0-2. So for whatever reason, they just decided to show up in India.
Yeah, can you guys tell the world how you did it?
Yeah.
Well, getting the ball to swing, I think, in the first test, probably pretty impressive. Yeah. massive achievement to sweep them in India a few months ago. Yep. And we've got to talk about this bloke.
Unfortunately, but yes.
He got a lot of luck in the first test. He got dropped 5 times. Some were hard, some were regulation. Like there was one down his leg side, went to the keeper, like regulation keeper catch, put it down, but he made him pay. 171 he made in that one.
Oh, we're talking about Harry Brook, by the way.
Yeah, Harry Brook.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll talk about Joe Root too in a second. Harry Brook, 171 in the first test and 123 off 115 balls in the second test. I was keeping an eye on his average because it was teetering around 60. I imagine it's gone up over that 60 mark. Let's try and get something up to date here. This kid's really good.
Yes. Which is terrible to say.
Yeah, well,
considering going into Ashes next year, and
credit where credit's due, dude.
He's got been playing really well, and like you mentioned before, that name Joe Root also playing really well. So, that Ashes series will be tough. But
this is Harry Brook's young career: 38 innings in 23 matches, 22.80 runs. He's nearly hit 3,000 runs already. He's already got a triple 100. He's averaging 61.6. He's striking at 88.5. So the definition of Bazball. And he has 1 duck in his 38. Yeah. He scored 800s, 10 50s. His half century to duck ratio is 18-1.
Yeah. I think might be Mayo, but I'm pretty sure I saw something saying that he was like one of the quickest to 2,000 runs as well.
Yeah.
If not the quickest.
Wouldn't surprise me. Well, certainly in ball's face, he's probably the quickest. And then, I imagine the stat was matches played.
Yep.
And he's 25, so he's probably only just coming into his how good he could be.
Yeah. Well, if he plays as long as Aussie did, it's another 12 years to go. So,
Might be looking at 15,000 test runs if he keeps up the way he's going.
Yeah.
Joe Root also made a ton in the second test there in Wellington.
What's that then for him? Because I think he's now taken the lead over the Fab Four significantly.
Which is crazy to think how far behind he was.
Ago.
3 years even.
Yeah. I guess it's the credit of how much cricket they also play.
They're always going to have that caveat. And Aussies will like to, say, oh, he's never made one here, so he stinks at cricket.
Yes.
No, he's pretty good. That's the 36. Well, excuse me, I was well off. So 3600s. Yeah. So inside of 4000s.
Well, he's probably got 4 in the last 3 months. So he's definitely he's blown the other 3 of the Fab Four out of the water essentially.
He's sitting on 12,886 runs. He'll hit 13,000. You'd imagine pretty soon.
He's 4th, I think, in total runs.
Yeah, I'm looking at his age here. He's about to turn 34. Can he catch Tendulkar? That is the question. This is everything combined. I was like, ooh,
that's a lot.
That's a lot of runs. 34,000 runs. Tendulkar 15,921.
Well, if he plays as long as we think he will, he'll probably be 2 definite.
Yeah. Well, he'll be 2.
500 off that.
Yeah, he's going to be 2 in the next.
No, he's not next year.
Next
year he's going to get lots of ducks here in the Ashes. Following year
he might have 14,000 before he starts the Ashes.
True.
So there's no question he'll go 2, and then it's going to really go down to the longevity of his career.
Exactly, just needs to keep the form up.
And then people like to harp on about they play so much Test cricket. He's played 151. Look at the 3 blokes ahead of him that aren't Tendulkar.
Yeah, they've only played 15 more matches.
164, 166, 168. So in terms of numbers of tests played, he's going to catch all of them, presumably, before he plays that many tests.
Yep.
Pretty good. I think you've got to give him a bit of credit. Wouldn't mind it. Well, I don't want to see him score one down here, but I wouldn't mind to see it from his legacy point of view, to see if he can do it.
If you look at the length of careers of the blokes in front of them, they've all played a further 5 years on top of his career currently. So,
well, that fits the narrative too. He's about to turn 34. Could he play till 38?
Yep.
39? Maybe.
Yep.
Or are we just seeing 2019, 2020 Steve Smith with Joe Root now, and are things going to slow down in the future?
Great question.
It's hard to keep up that kind of form for long periods.
But based on the current trend and trajectory, he probably could be number 1.
Watch this space. That'll do us for cricket chat. What do you reckon?
Yep. Sounds good.
Very good. Let's go over to the States. We'll talk some NFL.
Oh, he broke his ankles.
Let's start in the AFC East. The Bills, 10-3. Absolute shootout, losing to Los Angeles, but didn't hurt Josh Allen's MVP.
No, not at all. Basically putting the Bills on his back and trying to will them to a victory there over the Rams.
And condolences if you had if you were facing Josh Allen in fantasy football this week. Saw the score, I was like 51. I was like, that's going to be some sort of altered scoring or something. No, he had 3 rushing touchdowns, 80 yards on the ground, 3 passing touchdowns, 350 in the air. Yep. Yeah, he's pretty good. And I'm going to get his MVP odds up. I think he's really short now.
Yeah, I think with Lamar kind of having a few stinky games. Well, not just Lamar, but yeah, the Ravens, where they are kind of in the north, they're not as dominant as they were last year. And with the statistical anomaly that Allen is putting up, he's just so far ahead of everyone else. I think Joey B probably is only one comparable statistically wide, but his team's also doing way worse. So, yeah, I think Josh Allen's probably going to lock that MVP job up.
He's at $1.20. So,
short.
Yeah, it's a bit too short, I think. There's lots that can still happen with 4 games remaining. I might get some quarterback numbers up here. Numbers. The Dolphins are still technically in with a sniff, but 2 games behind for the 7 seed, and the next 2 weeks they play the Texans and 49ers. It's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, I think it'll be tough for them to sneak in. I think we talked about it previously that most likely the 2 teams will come out of the West and the third. 2 wildcards will come out of the West and the third will come out of the North. I think Dolphins unfortunately got hot too late. But yeah.
Yeah, missing your quarterback for 4 odd games early on in the year probably was a little bit too much for them to overcome.
Yeah. I just want to finish on the Bills. I don't think their defense is championship caliber.
Yeah, it's a bit scary. It's a bit scary when you get that many put on you.
Yeah, because you look at, as a direct comparison, how the Bengals are going. They're doing really well offensively, but defensively have been very much struggling. So I think Bills are probably a slightly better team, but I just don't think when they get into the colder month and playoff football, it's going to be a little bit more challenge for that defense, especially if they get into shootouts like they did against the Rams.
Yeah, and it's interesting.
Better against the Rams.
Well, playing in LA compared to playing in Buffalo. You go back 2 weeks ago to the snow game in the 49ers, and the 49ers look like
nothing.
They didn't
turn the ball over 3 times. Like that's what Buffalo's kind of built for. But if you got to travel to Kansas, and I just don't think they can beat them in that way.
And if they go to the Super Bowl, it's in a dome as well in New Orleans. So
playing the Lions potentially in a dome, I don't think you can beat them in that shootout in that direct comparison type game. So
the defense is going to have to prove that they can do it.
Going to need to lift from them.
Jets and Pats, they're
they're
thinking about the draft next year. Interesting, the Jets, this is now officially their 14th year without the playoffs. It's the longest run in the NFL by a long way. And
Rex Ryan took them to the playoffs?
Yeah, it must be. Yeah. Mark Sanchez.
Sounds about right. 2010, yeah.
How is that 14 years? Try and figure that out.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
The good old butt fumble. Fuck me.
Yeah. Butt fumble.
But it looks like Aaron Rodgers and the Jets kind of still have some sort of resemblance of a relationship. So he may be back next year, but they also probably looking at quarterback as a potential replacement.
Yeah, so looking at his contract, so he's on a 3-year deal. Their cap hit was $49 million or something.
Dead cap. So if they got rid of him, they'd have to eat almost $50 million next season. So could do that and draft a rookie, but they could also try to roll him out with all these Packers mates again. And I think they need to play better defensively because I think Rodgers and Wilson haven't been too bad. Yeah, Hall's been hurt at the moment.
Okay, since Devontae's found his old mate. Like Devontae's looked like old Devontae.
Yeah, I think really they got rid of all their pass rushers and they really struggled pass rush and Sauce has had a big regression because of it. I think their issues are more defensive side again.
Which is crazy because that defense on paper this time last year was really pretty good.
Yeah, shock you get rid of your defensive head coach and then they go in the toilet.
Interesting.
They won their one game after sacking their head coach and haven't won anything since.
Yeah, it's science. It'll be interesting to see what the Aaron Rodgers scenario is as we play more and more meaningless games as well.
Yep.
At what point do you pull the pin on this season as well? Bloke's had a few pretty nasty injuries coming off an Achilles.
Yep.
I think that conversation starts pretty soon.
Yeah, but who do they roll out in the is it White? Who's the
Do you care?
replacement? Yeah.
Tankathon?
No. It'll just be interesting what
Rogers would not.
defensive
I don't think he would like that for the competitor and the bloke that he is. I don't think he would like his season to be put on ice. Because of his health. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, but on the other side of it was like, hey, if you're going to be back next year, we want you back next year.
Yeah, and you're 41.
Yes.
If you do an ACL now,
we're fucked.
Yeah, and our turf is not known for ACLs at all. Yeah, interesting conversation.
Yep. Quarterback numbers there. Do you want to run through that very quickly?
Yeah, so Joey Burrow, as you mentioned, is having an MVP type year, other than the fact that they've only won 5 games.
Yep.
He has 3,700 yards, 33 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's completing at 68%. His quarterback rating's a tick under 108, which is the highest quarterback rating outside of Lamar. No, Jared Goff's just gone over him too.
Yeah, Sam Darnold there as well. He's 108, isn't he? Or is it 106? I can't see.
Yeah, it's 108.
Yeah.
Well, let's call him top 5.
Yeah, well, Sam threw 5 touchdowns the other night, so that helps him. Where's the proverbial MVP in Josh Allen? He's got 23 touchdowns.
23 and 5. So it's really the rushing numbers, I think, for Josh Allen, which are going to be telling here. I'm going to have to get through the running backs. So Lamar, his rushing numbers are 678 on the ground with 5 touchdowns. And Josh Allen down there has 416 with 9 touchdowns. So he's finding the end zone a lot.
Yeah, so he's still, 1 touchdown short in total to what Joe B has? Is it 33
more?
versus?
No, more than that.
Or was it 25 and 9? No, it's... Yeah,
it's like 6 total, less. Joe Burrow housed one about a month ago too. Thought, there's no safety or anyone on the right-hand side of the field. I might just take this to the house. Joey, if they were winning a little bit more, would be in the MVP conversation. He's, if you wanted to have a little flutter, it's probably better off saving your money. It's great. Yeah, he's at 251 to 1.
It's just because MVP kind of team performance does go into it a little bit. You want to be
more
the most favorable player on the most dominant team.
Yeah,
so that's kind of where Josh Allen is because of their record. So yeah.
When we talk about sheer numbers, we'll get to running backs in a second. When we talk about Philadelphia, if there's any year that a running back could do it, it could be Saquon.
Yep.
Let's go to the AFC West. The Chiefs are 12-1. They just keep on finding a way to win, don't they?
Somehow they find ways to win. Maybe a little help from the referees, but
that seems to be the narrative in the social media world. I don't think the referees can help that doink off the upright and then bounce in.
No, but giving them the opportunity to be in field goal range.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I thought that that Bengals Cowboys game late as well. There was a few things that, I think there was a Joey face mask on Joey B that didn't get called. It was a big one. I feel like the refs just don't want to call penalties in late in games anymore.
Yeah.
They're just like, just let them play it out. But yeah, there are some things that are very areas and you're just like, hey, you should probably call that. But then also, if I do call it, then all those gambling organizations are going to come after me. I don't want to directly impact the game, which may affect your bets.
Yeah, possibly. Maybe not so much the organization as the angry punters.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the walk from stadium to car park is what they're worried about.
Who'd want that job?
No.
Feel for them.
And most of them are in their 70s at this point. So.
Yeah, they've seen hard shit. They got shit on now.
Yeah. I don't think reffing overall is worse than it has been in previous years, but I think there's a clear aspect that they just don't want to call things in the last 5-8 minutes of games. It's just like in the fourth quarter, they're just like, hey, we'll just let it ride unless it's really, really bad. Otherwise, if it didn't really impact that play that much, like that Joey B one, he was getting already tackled. That face mark doesn't stop anything. We'll just let it ride. We'll let it ride out. But then I feel like there's a few oh fuck, we missed that one. So here's a semi sort of one that follows on the very next play, and you're just like, I can see the square up, but also I was like, just call the first penalty if that's the case.
Do you think it's just now within the social media echo chamber, you see it, and then you see everyone blowing up about it, and that conversation used to just be around the water cooler at work, and
Well, there is that, but then also they have the rules analysts in the fucking commentary that says they should have called that play as they're doing the replay.
And you do see that happen pretty regularly.
Yeah, I kind of think potentially with kind of the way the pace of the game anyway is those sort of things like that Joe B one. New York will probably phone that in. I feel like in the future it's because hey, you've missed a really bad face mask, call it, and they'll call it in, and they don't have to challenge or anything. Or they'll be able to challenge more like you've missed an error penalty. You should be checking this thing. I feel like
a bunker.
Yeah, hopefully not. Well, they already have one. Like the New York, everything's been through New York. They check all the interceptions. They check turnovers. They check all the scoring plays, and they do all the challenges. I feel like there's probably going to be more remit, especially when they can, like something like that. We quickly can clearly see that that's a fucking face mask. That they will call that back in and say, hey, that's a 15-yard penalty, because they showed 4 different replays of it. And they took, because I think it was leading to 4th down, so they're switching the punt teams coming on. It's a slow play anyway. There's plenty of time to actually make that call. So I feel like more of that stuff in the future is probably going to get involved more.
Do you think it's coincidence that it keeps happening doubling back to the Chiefs games?
Yeah, they've got Patriot Juju for whatever reason. It's just switched from them to there. Again, it's probably because they're in those situations to win games so often.
Exactly.
Then there's also a lot more scrutiny.
You don't blame the rest when you're down 21-0.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if they're losing games consistently, they're just like, those holds aren't as errors. But on a game-winning drive where everyone's watching,
it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Exactly. But then also there are some big-time fucking holds in that as well. That their tackles usually are, not in the right position. They're not on the line of scrimmage, and they jump early, and then they hold. But that's all good. That's all kosher.
This also could be coming from a
very biased Broncos fan.
I was going to say. Let's talk about your Broncos. The Chargers are also looking pretty good in this division, 8-5.
Yep.
The Broncos are 8-5.
Yes.
I didn't think at this stage of the season we'd be looking at 8-5. I was thinking about 500 might have been par, maybe even just below.
Yeah, I thought 9-7 was top shelf, and we're probably still aiming towards that. We've got to take on the Bengals and
I'll get it for you.
We got Chiefs the last game, Bengals and Chargers. That's our final 3, I think, from memory. I think Chargers are actually up next. Is it Chargers Bengals or Bengals Chargers? Because I know we finished with Kansas City. Oh no, Colts. Sorry.
Yeah, you got the bye. Colts first, and then your 3 divisional.
I keep forgetting the season's an extra week longer these days.
The 3 divisional
10
games.
and 7. 10 and 17.
So Chargers, it's at Chargers, at Bengals, home against the Chiefs.
Yep.
That could be. That's a good time to get the Chiefs. They might be resting a few guys.
Yes. They've probably they already clinched the West and maybe have a 1 seed by the 2 games ahead, aren't they? For 1 seed. Because Bills are 10-3, and
they are. No one's won 11.
Yeah, so there could potentially be rest.
That could be
definitely
week 18.
They could already have clinched well and truly for that. So, yeah, I really like them. I think they should be the Colts. They're playing a lot of good defense, and their offense has been better. And Bo Nix has been really good. He's grown and grown as the weeks go on. I've been pretty impressed.
Colts will be playing for their season. Anthony Richardson had moments, and then he's had moments where he looks pretty inaccurate.
Yep.
But yeah, the athletic ability certainly there. He's shown that with a few game-winning rushing touchdowns.
Yeah. For Denver, their defense is good, but they need their corners. I think missing Riley Moss against Cleveland showed that, we need both of the boys out there playing in the corners. Otherwise, the defensive scheme they like to run just doesn't work.
Get burnt by Jerry Judy.
Yeah, constantly. Yeah, Paul Wallace. Had one of the worst games. Luckily for him, that was that a Falcons game. That Falcons guy had against the Vikings. He had 7 targets for 7 receptions, 200 yards, and 3 touchdowns on him.
It's getting picked on.
Yeah, that was the one where he fell down and Jefferson's just throw me the ball. I'm way open. So he got cooked. So Wallace, I think it's a little pass.
What do you think of the Chargers?
I think they're a hardball team. What do you expect? Yeah, their running backs are a little bit banged up. They've got a good offensive line. They've drafted Alt for that reason. They want to run the ball. They're off their wide receiver weapons, probably not the best, but they've got Herbert and he can make it work and then just play good, solid defense. And they're basically where you'd expect them to be. It's almost the exact same model that Denver's doing at the moment. Is have a good offensive line, run when you can, get what you can out of your quarterback, and play good defense.
And credit to Justin Herbert. He's thrown one pick. Incredible.
Yep.
So, yeah, probably doesn't have the weapons around him that he did in years gone by.
No.
He's just protecting the football, and then they're playing good defense. And that, in years gone by, is a good formula to win championships.
Yep. 100% agree.
I'm not saying the Chargers win this year, but they've got the makings there. They've got
likely,
good coaching, good defense.
Likely be a playoff team. I think because both them and Denver have a 2-game lead on everyone else chasing a wild card spot.
Yeah, that's right. There's a big gap now between the 7 seed and the what do they call it? In the hunt.
In the hunt, yes.
15.9 points a game for Chargers defense. Broncos on par with the Lions and Eagles, all tied on 18 points a game. A team with a bad offense, a bad defense. It seems like pretty ordinary coaching as well. Are the Raiders? They're 2-11.
Aidan O'Connell got injured, so
who are they going to roll out? I actually.
They got that Broncos dude we were just talking about. No,
that's the Saints.
Great question. I have no. Ritter's going to probably be the starter.
Yeah, I think it will be.
But I'm not sure who else will play. But yeah, they've got no running backs. They're all injured. It's essentially drop back, hope Biles is open, and throw it to him.
He's been really, really good.
He's been really good because they've got no other offensive weapons.
See, he broke the reception record for tight ends for a rookie this week.
Yeah, broke Laporta's record from last year.
He's got 4 games left.
Yep, still got 4 games to go. So
he's picking him up in fantasy is a good idea.
Yep.
Okay, MRI confirmed Monday Las Vegas Raiders quarterback suffered a bone bruise. Doesn't say where. Exited left leg in an air cast. That's good news, I would say.
No, not season ender, but he's not going to play this week.
Yeah. It seems like it's going to be Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, Ridder against the Falcons. The
Falcons team, revenge game for him.
Yeah, they need a bounce back. The Falcons themselves.
We'll get to them. They're sliding.
Raiders, they want a quarterback, whether that's Sanders or whoever they think.
Cam Ward.
Yeah, whoever is number 1 for next season, potentially go there.
I think Sanders did tweet. What's he been saying? God's good.
Yeah.
Each time the Raiders lose. Something along those lines. Do your own research. AFC North.
Mm-hmm. Fun.
Yeah. I think last pod we were like, don't know about the Steelers. We got to respect the Steelers.
Yeah.
2 games ahead now.
What's Tomlin's record up to now? He's 19 years or something without a
500 or above.
Yeah, without a losing season. So
crazy, man.
I think they're just the team's well put together. Like they want to run the ball, play action, and let Russ throw it deep. And they've got they have Mike Williams now. Or am I imagining that?
Yeah,
they got Mike Williams and Pickens, who are both one of the better deep guys in the league. So
I think there's an injury cloud on George Pickens. I saw.
Yes, he didn't play last week.
Injury is more significant than anticipated. You don't want to see that. He's electric, man. His ability to take in crazy grabs, like you said, deep down the field is insane.
And then also do wild shit as well. So
yeah, that's he's a different type receiver than Antonio Brown, but he has some of the Antonio Brown attitude. That's for sure.
But I feel like the way that exactly the offense is set up, the way it's meant to be, and then again play good defense. They've got one of the better defenses in the league with one of the best defensive player.
Likely defensive player of the year.
Yeah. So it's, that's what you build off, and that's why they're 10-3. I think there's probably been a big regression in their division as well. You wouldn't expect the Bengals and Ravens maybe to have lost as many games as they have. But, they've capitalized on that. I think they've beaten all of them. So give them credit. They've won in their division. So we'll see what they can do come playoff time.
George Pickens had an MRI, hamstring injury showed up, appears to be more significant than initially thought.
Yeah, hamstring for deep threats is not.
Yeah, for anyone that's explosive, you wouldn't want to rush that. They'll make do with Mike Williams, Van Jefferson and co until then.
And again, they've got a 2-game lead on the Ravens at the moment in that division. So they're probably not going to get the 1 seed. With the Chiefs ahead of them, so they're kind of where they're going to be.
They're going to get a home.
They'll get a home game, so
game.
They're kind of in their seeding spot where they are at the moment.
Bro, check out this run home though. Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals.
Yeah, tough run. It'll be a proving ground. It's a good month. It'll see if you're really a playoff team or not.
Definitely a playoff team. Super Bowl contender.
Legit. They're not Dave Grohl's is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah. Ravens, on the other hand, Lamar's kind of odds have definitely tumbled. They didn't, having not played this week, being on a bye, and then Allen having a huge game doesn't help your odds. I think that's what happened for you recently.
I think it went out to $13, which is pretty wild.
Yeah. But again, they could have a good month to finish 12-5 to end the year. So, they could roll back into contention.
13 for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I just think defensively, that again, that's another team that's kind of banged up defensively, hasn't been playing up to your typical Ravens kind of football. But they will most likely be the last wildcard team out of the AFC. I don't think no one's coming from the south, no one's coming from the east. So it'll be, they'll be, Ravens should make it. And I don't think the Bengals, I guess mathematically the Bengals can still get it, but they're so far behind. And they're just unlucky. The Bengals are just so unlucky at the moment.
Well, they play shit defense. So
every
game, dude. Every game they're getting just torched on defense. So there's only so much, Burrow and Jamar Chase can do. And I do want to talk about Jamar Chase.
Yeah, let's talk about him.
Has he got 15 receiving touchdowns? Did I see that correctly?
I think that is the take. So, yes. I got Baltimore's defense this week.
Very good. Jamar Chase, 93 receptions, 1,319 yards. So he's like 150 yards ahead of Justin Jefferson, and 15 touchdowns. He's double Justin Jefferson's touchdowns.
Yep. Yeah. 1,300 yards, 93. Again, with a month to go. Is he potentially in Offensive Player of the Year conversation with Henry and Saquon?
Yeah, this would be interesting because
I celebrated the Ravens thing before because the Ravens play at Giants this week, so Lamar might get back on track to his MVP sort of season. We'll see.
Let me try and find an Offensive Player of the Year because Chase was like real long to win.
Yeah,
I think we saw it with Cooper Kupp a few years ago.
It's very hard.
Pretty hard.
Well, he won that award, but he didn't win the MVP.
That's what I'm saying. So Chase was 251 to 1 to win the MVP with that kind of numbers, which is
he's not winning the MVP.
Insane.
Will he win Offensive Player of the Year? Yeah.
Let me get you some odds
because that's what I'd be interested in that.
Saquon's $1.17, and then Chase is second at $6. So
there you go.
So the bookies,
it's closing.
It's closing
because it was Henry. Henry was in there, so Henry's kind of slid out again.
He's out to 8.
Hasn't played, had a bye week, so it doesn't help his chances.
Bookies, as it stands, are pretty confident that Josh Allen's going to be the MVP and Saquon's going to be the Offensive Player of the Year.
Again, it's still a month to go, so a lot can change, especially if Lamar gets 20-plus touchdowns and 120-odd receptions and 1,600 yards maybe. Or more.
It could get more, it could be at 1,800.
Yeah.
It could. If you have 1,800 receiving yards and 20 touchdowns,
it's gonna be tough not to give him an award of some description.
Yeah.
What is interesting though for Saquon, I did see that stat. He's had 11. What would you call them? Being downed at like between the 1 and the 3, 11 times this season. Yeah. And he's only scored once off those drives. So
Jalen Hurts pushed to a
so there's potentially could have had another 10 touchdowns, but that's the vultures stealing him. But he's still doing all right for himself. But it's also wild to think that he could have 20 touchdowns already on the year.
Yeah,
Derek does still have a few more than him. He does have more yards, but
whilst we're on the running back numbers, let's just read them out here. So Saquon has 1,623 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns, as you mentioned. That's got a pretty big asterisk next to it. And then the Ravens are kind of the opposite. They like giving the king the ball in the short yardage situations. 1,407 yards, 13 touchdowns. How's the average for these boys? Saquon, 6.1 yards per carry, and the king averaging 5.9 yards per carry.
It's also impressive to see Gibbs' numbers in there as well. He's at 5.7. So, and he's sharing essentially his workload. But yeah, the young fella, the future there for the Lions.
Hopefully the running back's going to get a bit more of this. I think some of these elite running backs are saying, hey, let's not devalue this position.
Yeah, yes, exactly. There are guys and talents that are just, again, not... Well, let's just call them generational. There are guys that are freaks, and they probably should be paid accordingly.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to backwards hurdle a professional athlete. Like, it's a Madden game.
Yes. Yeah. 100% agree.
Craziness.
Yeah. I think the difference there between Barkley and Henry will probably be his receiving numbers, which will be significantly higher than Henry.
Yeah, I was having a look at this before. It's not as high as what you might expect. I think he was in the vicinity of 250 receiving yards and like 3 receiving touchdowns. So it's not crazy. You can go receiving and then maybe sort it by running back.
But if you scroll it, you should.
Yeah,
actually,
I
no,
think
that'll
we're
get
gonna have to go a long
it'll
way.
get all the other running backs. You just put some Barkley in there. What do we get?
I'm gonna.
He's not even in that
He's
list.
not in the top 50 for receiving yards. This is including receivers.
Yeah, of course.
There we go.
Barkley.
Yeah, 267 receiving yards for 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and Henry I think is very similar.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're probably pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in your mind, you'd think, Saquon would have a heap more in the receiving game. But
Yeah, they haven't
being
seen
used
one.
in a different scheme, and they're valuing him as a just bell cow running back.
Yep.
Running back.
Yeah, which potentially opens the door for Lamar with his excellent season that he's having. So, not Lamar, Jamar. Yes,
J's L's, they're close in the alphabet.
Yeah, I got to remember.
What about the AFC South? I'm
Blue division.
Yeah, I'm still have caution around the Texans being a really good football team.
I think they've had a big kind of sophomore regression from last year. Like all their second-year guys, because they're all rookies last year. There's a lot more tape on them, and people know what that Texans team's kind of like now, and they've schemed and planned to take away what was making them successful. I think they're still a pretty good football team, but I don't think they're as dominant. They're not as kind of good as they were last year.
Yeah.
They've been banged up a little bit. Getting Collins back was the right time to be getting him back.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
So let's see how they can go offensively. But I think Anderson and Stingley probably haven't been as good as they were last year as rookies.
On defensive side
on
of
the
the ball.
defensive side. So I think they're a good team, probably heading in the right direction. But again, I just don't think they can compete with the top tier playoff teams.
They may be beneficiaries of being in the AFC South because one of the...
Well, yeah, you've got to play 6 games against
that
teams.
that in itself, but when it comes to playoff time, it's likely that someone might have to go
and travel to them. Yes.
So
yeah, they'll be the
they might get a home field against the Ravens or something.
Who were their wins against, out of curiosity? They've probably got to play 3 more divisional games. So
I think they've only got 1 more divisional.
Interesting.
So I was having a look ahead there. They've got Dolphins, Chiefs, Titans, someone, I think there. And then let me load this here.
So beat Colts.
Beat the Colts, beat the Bears, lost to Minnesota, beat Jacksonville. That's 3.
Interesting they beat
Buffalo.
Beat Buffalo. Beat Patriots.
Beat New England. Lost to the Packers. Beat the Colts. Lost to the Jets.
Lost the Lions.
Kept it close against Detroit. Remember that was a 5-pick game for Jared Goff.
Beat Dallas. Dallas have been
Handily beat Dallas. Did lose to the Titans and got very lucky against the Jags.
Yeah, they feel like Dave Gross.
Yeah, it's interesting because
they beat the Bills, but outside of that, the other 7 teams they've beat are teams that aren't over 500. So they're not good football teams.
But then they can also compete with the Lions on their day.
Yes.
But yeah, I suppose if you pick someone off 5 times, you probably should win the game.
Yeah. It kind of, to me, was like they didn't give a fuck. The Lions was like, to pick us off. We're going to win this football game anyway.
Well, they're, I think, into about $3 to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
So
they're very dangerous and very fun.
rolling.
Do get Buffalo this week, which is a pretty juicy
Could
game.
be the Super Bowl.
Could be, Super Bowl preview.
Jags, we're going to talk about Trevor Lawrence, that concussion.
Yeah, that was a nasty hit.
Did he slide too late, or does the defender just need to be like, you
Whether the slide was late or not, he still hit him with a forearm to the face mask.
Like, got 3 weeks,
yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah. That's Azeez Al-Shaair.
Surprisingly how defensive the Texans management came out and said, it's a witch hunt kind of thing. But to me, it's just like...
I feel like they've been trying to stamp that out in the league.
Yeah, if it had been more like a natural tackle, I might be more in your case. But it's a forearm shiver. Like, he's got his arm up, hits him squarely with the elbow to the head, and he concusses him. Like, there's nothing more late or dirty than that that you see in the league. So
and the Jags teammates, good on them. They were very quick to get in there and stick up for their quarterback, who was unfortunately concussed on the ground.
Doesn't help poor old Trevor Lawrence, though. He's had a rough year.
He's had a rough year.
Rough career.
Yeah, it's again, it's
he got a big contract in there. They've already re-extended him.
Yeah, so I think they need to stick it out with him. I think he's shown at times he can be quite good. They need to get him some help.
I think it should be the other way around. I think Lawrence needs to go find somewhere that is going to benefit him, because you could spend another probably 5 years on that deal with the Jags, and they're probably going to be the same Jags they are at the moment. Like, they just don't seem to be going in the right direction. They'll have probably a new head coach again.
Doug Peterson's still got his job, eh?
Currently, yes. But if they start poorly again next year, maybe it's a new head coach. So they're in a pretty tough place. Yeah, I'm not sure what their future looks like.
The one thing that made me think about in this, the fake slide should be banned.
Yeah,
you know how we saw Kenny Pickett do one, Mahomes has done one. I don't know. Yeah,
if you initiate a slide, you should.
I think you have to. Yeah, they should penalise fake slides.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This wasn't a fake slide, though.
No, he slid too late.
I still think there was he slides for like a good 2 meters before he gets hit as well anyway. I think there's plenty of time to adjust the direction of that arm.
Yeah, 100%.
Where's the wrapping motion?
Yeah.
No,
there was none.
There was none. It was intent. In my mind, it was intent to hurt. So.
A few weeks on the sidelines for Aziz. Let's keep going into the NFC. Lions, Eagles, Vikings.
Yep.
Really a lot of talk around the Lions, but the Eagles and Vikes both looking pretty good too. NFC East, Eagles 11-2. We spoke about Saquon before. He's at $6 to win the MVP. On track for close to 2,000 yards and touchdowns. If Hurts stops vulturing him, might go close to 20.
Yep, agree.
What about the rest of their team?
It's interesting, the comments, because they lost. Who'd they play? Did they play the Titans? I feel like they lost to someone they shouldn't have lost to.
This season?
No, last week. Because there's some comments about asking AJ Brown what their issues were, and his one-word answer was passing, which is interesting to come from.
They struggled to beat the Panthers.
Yeah, that was probably it. Panthers have been playing better, but you should think that if they're as good a team as you expect them to be, they should be putting more points on the Panthers. Some questions about the passing game, and AJ Brown maybe not so happy with the volume he's getting. Last time that happened last year, he went off big time. Week. So they got Steelers. Let's see if he can replicate it against that good defense. Got a good run home, though.
Yeah, Steelers, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants. So they finished with the 3 divisional games. Expect to see a few guys get a rest against the Giants, I think, January 5.
Should win a bunch of those. It's interesting, Commanders in that division, because I think the Lions threw Cowboys. He did get a win against the Bengals and probably saved McCarthy's job for now. But I think McCarthy's job's probably safe because he's got no Dak at the moment. He's out. Like, I don't have my starting quarterback, so I'm doing the best I can. I think they've got a tough run. I don't think they'll. My point being is I don't think they're going to be anywhere in playoffs. Commanders in this division is interesting because they're close, but there's probably 3 teams coming out of the North, so 2 of the wild cards will be there. Can the Commanders actually make the playoffs?
I think they should, because you're only going to have one come out of the South, and I think the West is too tight. So I think it'll just be one out of the South, one out of the West.
I wonder if the Rams have been playing...
Yeah, possibly.
Healthy.
Yeah.
Have been playing a lot better. So just did a number on the Bills, could have a bit of a run. And if that's the case, Commanders could be the one that misses out.
Commanders got a good run home.
Yeah, they do get Saints.
Saints, Eagles hard, Falcons, Cowboys. Yeah. No gimmies, but 3 out of those 4 games, if you want to play playoff football, they should fancy themselves to win, and they probably only need to win 2.
Yep.
I'd be surprised, but yeah, like you said, the Rams are sniffing.
Yeah.
The Seahawks. Let's just talk about the NFC West because we're on topic. Seahawks 8-5, Rams 7-6, Cardinals 6-7, 49ers 6-7. It's the tightest division in football.
Yep.
Everyone's sort of teetering around 500. I'm worried about the 49ers. I think their season is in real strife, and CMC doing his PCL in that snow game last week against the Bills.
Followed by Mason, followed by Isaac.
Did Gorendo get hurt?
Yep, he's hurt as well. Wow. So it's Patrick Taylor, I think, is the next one. So, yeah, I
just spent all my fab on Gorendo in one league.
Yeah. RBs for the Niners are cursed at the moment. I just don't think they're as good a team as they've been. What's the odds to make the playoffs now? The Super Bowl odds, they've been favourites for a long time.
Yeah, the first 6 weeks, we're like, why are the 49ers the third favourites in the Super Bowl? Yeah. They're not playing good football just yet.
Oh, that's probably just the betting companies taking free money.
Yeah, maybe.
Because, I don't think they'll make it. I don't think the Cards will make it. I just don't think they're playing good enough football. I think the Rams are on the right trajectory. Yeah. And the Seahawks probably have done enough early in the season to hold on to a spot.
I think that Rams shootout win against the Bills, people got to start to respect them.
Do Seahawks-Rams play?
I think they do have one left.
That, to me, is probably decides the division and might be the only spot that comes out of the West, potentially. Yeah.
So
last game of the season.
This is the Rams run home, 49ers, Jets, Cards, Seahawks. So all these divisional games, that's what's going to decide this division.
I think they could win all those 3 and then, see how the Seahawks go. They'll close the distance. There could be who gets out.
Yeah. It might be the NFC West
they both could be
championship
10 and 6 by that point
in Week 18.
And the winner goes through.
We didn't talk about the Giants when we were talking about the NFC East.
Who does?
They're 2-11.
They're bad.
They're bad. Obviously,
Neighbours, I think, is a bit banged up as well, and he's been good, but Locke can only do so much, and they're a basket case team.
Let's go from basket case to the best division in football, although they've got a team that's struggling. But the 3 teams that are flying in the NFC North, the Lions are 12-1. That Thursday night football game was pretty entertaining. 34-31 loss for my Packers against the Lions. The Lions on offense are just a juggernaut, and their defense is actually starting to get sneaky good considering how banged up they are, which is impressive.
Yeah, I don't think they have huge sack numbers or turnovers, but they limit points.
Yeah.
So, and that's all they need to do with their high-flying offense. So.
Yeah, and I think when their offense is getting out to really fast starts, and then you can go into the bit of a prevent defense and don't have to worry about stopping the run so much.
Exactly. The passing's coming. You can get after the quarterback a bit more. But, if they could generate a few more turnovers, I think that would make it a lot easier on their offense. But, their offense is still scoring 50 points on the regular, so I think they'll be fine.
I think I threw out the number 3-1 off the top of my head before for them to win the whole thing, which I think is pretty insane, although they are playing incredible. 360 they are to win the whole thing. So favourites by $2 from Kansas City at $5.50. Might go through those at the end. Vikings 11-2. Justin Jefferson starting to roll pretty well. Jordan Addison has heated up. Sam Darnold threw 5 touchdown passes, only to those 2 receivers. So both had an absolute day. JJ McCarthy obviously drafted high to be the face of the franchise moving forward. Probably should re-sign Sam Darnold.
Well, he's also coming off an ACL, so you probably...
meniscus, I think it was.
Meniscus, yeah. Still, bad ligament knee injury. You're going to want to ease him back and then probably see what you got in him. But, why would you not re-sign Sam Darnold, considering he's taking the team to 11-2? I guess the contract is the issue. Is are you going to pay him, give him a 4-year deal and pay him 40-odd mil, all quarterback money in that period?
No.
Or, is he worth a 2... Because the thing is, maybe the Giants want to turn around and give him a that
a 2-year prove it deal.
Yeah. Well, the Vikings probably want to give him a 2-year deal, so they know they can then probably get a look at JJ and see, kind of make a decision. Whereas another team probably could give him a bigger deal, like might say, hey, we'll give you a 4-year, 160 mil deal and you come play for us. You can be our franchise quarterback. Because he's obviously done, what's he? He's 6th at the moment.
For passing yards, he's got 28 passing touchdowns, which I think might be better than 6th. He's equal third with Baker for passing touchdowns.
So he's...
Quarterback rating was saying before is like 108.
Yep. So like he's not playing bad.
So
there'll be a lot of teams that'll be interested in him to come and play for them. So I think Vikes are kind of in a hard spot where they probably don't want to commit to him long term, but other teams would maybe happily do it. So it'd be interesting to see what they work out.
And we're just saying pre-pod, it's nice to see.
Because it's not like he's old either. It's not like a Rodgers where you're like, oh, we'll see, get another 2 years out of you. No, he's
27 maybe?
Yeah, exactly. So he's looking for a long-term deal, someone to commit to him. So maybe the Vikings make sense.
He's 27.
But the flip side of that is they give him a massive long deal and then he has a big regression because he's out of his contract year. Like there is that contract year thing that plays into it.
Yeah, I guess. I think it's just he's got good coaching. They're playing pretty good defense and has a generational receiver on one side.
First round pick on the other side who's coming into his own. So
and TJ Hawkinson back healthy.
Yep.
Jones
isn't too bad.
They're rolling. Yeah. Pack 9-4 did go down to the Lions. I was looking at their schedule pre-show at Seattle, home against New Orleans, at Minnesota, and then they play their sons, the Chicago Bears. Few big away games there in Seattle and Minnesota. I'd be spewing if they lost to the Saints or Chicago in the frozen tundra.
I agree.
So that's 11 wins, I think, and then a few tough away games. Could really put a damper on Seattle's season as well if they go to Lumen and have a win this week.
Yeah, I think those 3 teams will get out. I mean, they'll all be in double digits, I think, for wins. Order might be interesting. We'll see how that all plays out because there's a potential the Lions end up 3rd in that division if they have a bad run home.
They'd need to go
unlikely, they need to go 1-3 potentially. So, I think it's unlikely, but they're all very, very close at the moment. So,
Packers likely to get an away wildcard game week 1, which they went down to Dallas and won handedly last year.
They could be going to play, Dallas or Seattle, for example. They could be.
Won't be Dallas, but
no, not this year. I mean, as the comparison, it might be Seattle. They might be going to play the Seahawks. So.
Or the Rams or something.
Yeah.
What do I want to ask you? Where do you have Josh Jacobs in your running back hierarchy at the moment? I think Saquon and the King. You probably even could have Saquon in a league of his own at the moment.
Well, I think that it depends on what question you're asking. If you're asking me about talent, I think those two are probably well ahead of what Josh Jacobs is as a pure talent. But because Josh is getting significant volume and there's no competition and he's been running well, he's been able to turn that into a very solid season. So
let's go combination of talent and production. Where would you have him at the moment?
Well, I think maybe 4.
4?
Based on that, I think talent-wise, Gibbs probably pips him.
Yep.
But I think for the volume he's getting and how well he's been playing, it kind of makes sense. I'd probably have him above Williams and Hubbard at the moment.
Yeah, Kyron Williams is hard. Kyron Williams is good.
Yeah, exactly.
Jacobs can, I think, give you some of that more power.
Yes.
Red zone sort of carries that Kyron doesn't maybe have as much. Kyron is electric in the open field.
Yes, agree.
But mind you, Jacobs put a filthy move on in the open field in the last few weeks, actually. And so,
you can't doubt that Josh Jacobs wasn't a talent. Just where he is in his kind of career and where the others are. He's not as top shelf as those guys. And maybe you want to take a Robinson over him if you had to choose head to head just because of the pure talent aspect.
Yeah, I don't know if I would.
But for the
Bijan hasn't proved it yet at the NFL level.
But he's also had 30 more carries than him, and has only got 50 or more, 70 more rushing yards than him. So
his average is pretty much on 4.5, 4.4.
Yeah.
Found the end zone 11 times compared to Bijan's 6.
Yeah, I just think you look at the guys that are over 5 at the moment, they're elite talents, and in that top 10, there's only 2 of them.
Yeah, I think tier 1.
3 if you 3 because I I miss Gibbs. Yeah, there's 3 of them in that top 10. And they're my like top talents with production.
So tier 1, Barkley, Henry.
Yep.
Tier 2, in no particular order because we've been pussies.
Well, I'd probably have Gibbs at the top.
You'd have Gibbs at the top of tier 2.
Followed by
Jacobs
Williams.
Williams.
Yeah.
Then
Hubbard,
a step down to Chuba.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Hubbard, I think, is doing really well with the volume he's got, but I just don't think
on a pretty ordinary team.
Yeah.
Bijan, Alvin Kamara, man.
He's just super consistent.
Yeah.
His run numbers have been down because they haven't been running as much, but his receiving numbers are through the roof. So,
Joe Mixon having a good year as well
Yes.
at the Texans.
Yep. Yeah, I can't complain.
Yeah. Interesting. Let us know if you're listening to this, your running back tiers. The bottom tier in the NFC North is the Bears, man. After starting the season, okay, sometimes you feel sorry for them.
But you got to remember they only beat bad teams. So
We spoke about that on this podcast.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people probably were like, we'll believe it when we see it against some good teams. Lost 7 in a row, Matty.
they have been better offensively. Like Williams has been playing better, but they haven't been winning. So
And they've lost a few games in shitty circumstances. Block punt
Punt,
comes to mind.
yeah, that's one.
Blocked field goal, I should say, against the Packers. And the one where they let the clock run out. Phew.
yes, yeah, should have called a timeout.
That's coaching.
Yes,
So
yeah. And are they kind of where the Jags were when I was talking before, where they like to draft young talent and then fire head coaches and then rinse and repeat?
yeah, well, they're notorious for not having any long-lasting quarterbacks, aren't they?
Yeah,
But you've got like Caleb Williams is good.
yeah, but it looks like Fields wasn't the issue with the Bears.
Yep.
And say Williams is there and say Matt keeps his job and he gets fired next year. The following season, you get a new head coach who's like, hey, we're still got a top 5 pick. I'm going to pick my quarterback. And, Williams is in the same spot that Fields is. Rinse and repeat. This is a reason why the Bears haven't had a 4,000-yard passer in franchise history.
Try and get a article up here on Matt Eberflus, and here we go. Bears' decision to move on from head coach Matt Eberflus is already leading to a domino effect the team wasn't expecting. So this is also an issue if you fire your head coach. Sometimes there's guys that are pretty loyal and they like the system and they're like, nah, stuff.
Yeah, well, that's the reason they came.
He's out. Yeah, we're going too.
So who have you had fired for head coaches so far? Salah, Eberflus.
Salah, Eberflus,
Is that it?
Saints guy.
Oh, yeah, Dennis Allen.
Dennis Allen, yeah. I think it's only 3.
Oh, there's probably potential to be a few more. Whether Giants can keep their head coach.
Antonio Pierce has lasted the year so far.
I think
Jared Mayer.
Jared Mayer, will probably get another year.
Yeah, I think that's maybe not the Patriots' way.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think they'll give up with him too quick, but there's definitely been some serious questions about his head coaching capability being asked.
I'm pretty sure it's only 3.
Yeah, I think it's 3.
And
With a
Doug
lot.
Peterson holding on for dear life, I
The
think.
Titans are in the same boat, but they've only just switched head coaches. So, look at the Titans. I don't think the head coach was the issue.
Yeah. Although, they can beat the Texans on their day. And their defense is not too bad. They're just a bit stinky in offense.
What I've seen so far is usually the dude that got sacked or got traded or let go wasn't the issue at that franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable
You look at
statement.
say Fields, Baker, and Sam Darnold, for example, or you look at some of those coaches that have gone elsewhere, and you're like, maybe that franchise just has a culture problem.
Yeah, Baker and Darnold are probably prime examples this year in particular.
Yep. So finish with the South.
Yeah, Bucks are 7-6. They've won 3 in a row after having that 4-game losing streak. Coincides pretty closely to Mike Evans coming back.
Question for you. Can Mike Evans hit the 1,000?
Let's have a look. He's got a bit of work to do. His touchdowns are good. But his yardage, this may be the first time that he doesn't make it. How much work has he got to do here?
Because I know we looked at it and he had to average 100 yards a game, I think.
I think it's
last
more
time
than
we
that
looked.
now. No, it's pretty much the same.
It's pretty close.
So 590 he's on, so he needs 410, so he needs 102 yards a game.
Yep.
Feed him, man.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Feed the man.
It's a hard one to actually.
They should have a good run home too as well. They should play a lot of divisional games, so there's a potential there that he could have some big games. But yeah,
I like that. I've got stocks in him in fantasy. Let's go.
Just not this week.
It's us.
Yeah.
Let's go. This week, if you're listening to the pod, Mike, fan of the pod, Mike Evans. Bucky Irving's pretty good.
He has been good.
Yeah.
It was only a matter of time before he stole White's job. Got hurt though.
Yeah, so he had like 3 carries on the weekend after braining it the week before. Let's see if we can get him. Bucky.
White was solid, but in his absence, but he's not the talent that Bucky's been.
Bucky Irving, after leaving against the Raiders in week 14, coming off NFC Offensive Player of the Week performance in week 13 against Panthers.
Tightened up.
This sounds like hammy.
So, yeah,
Was already coming into the week with hip and back. What's in between the hip and the back? We don't actually have much there, but this sounds like maybe hammy.
Yeah. Hammy or calf is usually when they use that terminology of tightening and need to loosen it up. It's something leg.
Or me when I open my wallet. Tight. Into the Falcons.
I wasn't going to hit you on that because it was just like, what money? It's hard to be tight when it's empty.
Exactly right. Oh, nothing in there. You can pay on your phone now.
Yeah.
In the hunt in the NFC South are the Falcons and technically the Saints. I'd be very surprised if the Saints played playoff football.
Well, cover Derek Carr being hurt. He's got, he's break his hand, so he's...
Yeah, I think it's broken. It's his non-throwing hand. Yeah. There's a chance that they might be able to roll him out there. They do have Spencer Rattler, and they've just added Ben DiNucci.
Yeah, I feel like I saw reports that they're going to shut him down. So Rattler's most likely going to be the starter for them. He wasn't too bad, but yeah, he's
be interesting to see what he's got. Obviously jumped around colleges a lot. Yeah, pretty good on his feet. A little bit undersized.
Yep.
Hasn't
got a decent arm. So yeah, it was
been less than impressive in the games that I've seen, but also was under a fair bit of duress.
Yeah, and they're pretty struggling for offensive talent at the moment. They've got a lot of guys injured and banged up. Besides Kamara, so just feed the beast.
Not this week. You see Darren Rizzi, who's only been their head coach for a few weeks, screaming at Australia's own Matthew Hayball after the punt return touchdown, which got called back.
Yes.
So flipped.
For him, what was it? Did he block on the back or a legal block or something like that?
I think, rather than playing that safety fullback type position, sitting out the back, he kind of ran in and overcommitted.
Yeah, he wants to make tackles, bro.
Yeah, and I think he hit. Like, he took out one of the Saints guys.
One of the gunners and always one of the guys coming across the... Yeah.
Yeah, so wasn't the best play from him, but yeah, he got his ear chewed off. I'm sure he won't do it again.
Yeah.
Back to the Falcons.
Let's finish with Falcons, yeah.
Yeah, Kirk has been cold Kirk the last month. 0 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
They didn't win any of those games, I don't think.
Don't think so. After playing pretty good.
Yes. It's not like they're lacking for talent at the moment. The guys are all pretty much healthy.
Yeah.
So
right. They've got good young weapons around him, but had shown the month before that they can win, and we're seeing things out of Drake London and even Cole Pitts that we hadn't seen before.
Mooney had been really good.
Yeah, Darnell Mooney. Yeah. So I suppose the question is, when is Michael Penix's time? I think when your season's on the line and you've got a veteran in Kirk Cousins, I think you keep rolling with Kirk.
Correct. I think they committed to him for that very reason, is what they said during the week. But like you say, if the Bucks get out too far and they can't, then you might have 1 or 2 games where Penix will see what you got in him and give Kirk a rest. Because again, Kirk coming off an Achilles, older quarterback, so give him a rest.
Yeah, agreed. And that's huge pressure to put on your first round draft pick and be like, hey man, you've never played a game in the pros. You want to go
make us
get us into the playoffs? Yeah, I agree 100%. Play Captain Kirk out, and then if there's a dead game or 2 at the end of the season, see what Penix has got. Panthers, we've been speaking about throughout.
Looked better, haven't been winning games.
Yeah, it's 3-10, but they haven't been getting smashed. They've pushed both the Eagles and the Chiefs in the last few weeks, so pretty impressive stuff. Very sad to see Jonathan Brooks do his ACL. Yeah. That's his second?
Same knee. So he's just come back from the ACL and then he's just redone it. Non-contact injury, and they've confirmed that he's done his ACL. So another big layoff for him, which is very unfortunate. It also makes sense for why they invested in Chuba.
And paid him
good running back money.
Yeah, bloke's 6th at the moment in rushing. He's going good. Yeah. Jonathan Brooks suffered torn ACL and loss against the Eagles, ending his rookie season. Same knee. It's his second injury in 13 months. wishing him all the best with his rehab. It's never good when they get that news.
Yeah.
Let's just talk a little bit of college football just briefly. College football bracket has been decided. First year that we'll get a 12 team.
Legit playoff.
How good. It's taken them, 120 years of college football to get the bracket sorted in a really fun way. Top 4 seeds get the week off, and there'll be some bowl games and then knockout bracket games upcoming pretty soon. Heisman candidates have been announced. I think, as far as the odds,
I think it's a 2-horse race.
I think it's a 1-horse with a guy that there's an argument for. Dylan Gabriel and Cam Ward both there. Gabriel, quarterback at Oregon. Cam Ward, quarterback at Miami. Have both had stellar seasons. Nothing to write home about in terms of some of the other quarterbacks that have won the Heisman in terms of their numbers. Gabriel, in terms of that pro style, leading a really good team that hasn't lost. There's an argument there. I think it's pretty much a given that Travis Hunter is going to win the Heisman based on the odds. Has 1,152 receiving yards, has several receiving touchdowns, and has 4 intercepts because he's playing nearly every snap of every game for Colorado.
Two-way player.
Which is incredible. It's going to be interesting to see where he plays in the NFL. Can't imagine he goes both ways in the NFL. From a numbers perspective, Ashton Genty, 2,497 rushing yards, 29 rushing touchdowns, playing at Boise State. That's where the arguments are going to come in. Breaking all kinds of numbers, and they've been having big leads in a lot of games as well. There's a good chance that he could have gone over 2,530 had they not sat him at the end of the fourth quarter. Those numbers are insane.
Well, Barry Sanders is the record. Has the college record for yards and touchdowns. I think he's fairly short of the touchdowns, but he's about 130 yards off his record. Me personally, statistically, I would go with Ashton.
I would too.
For the Heisman. So what, and 30 touchdowns?
29. It's...
that's rushing. I just thought, I was looking for touchdowns. How many touchdowns Barry did in that year as well. Because what's interesting...
37.
37, yeah. So well short of the touchdown, but he's very, very close to the yardage. I think Travis has been very good at 2 positions, but he hasn't been a generational talent at 1. I think if you take Jetty out of the Boise State team, they don't make playoffs.
That good, you reckon?
Yeah. But I think if you take Hunter out of Colorado, I still think they do as well as they did.
Yeah.
As a direct comparison.
And Colorado haven't had as good a season either as Boise State.
Correct. Add to that your previous comment. Colorado with Hunter played nearly all games and stat pad in some of those as well with the lead. Whereas Genty hasn't played 8 full quarters because he's been rested. So he's missed 2 whole games because he hasn't been rested in fourth quarters because they've led so much. Yeah, because they've led so much. There's not a doubt in my mind that he would have broken Barry Sanders' rushing record.
Yeah, if he plays that and stays healthy.
Yeah, another 2 games. He's probably out of distance of that touchdown record, but he breaks 30. So, and I feel like if you look at the numbers, like Hunter, I think, has been a top 5 wide receiver and he's top 20 on in corner. Like, yes, it's good at 2-way positions, but you're also not the best wide receiver in football or the best corner. And the best running back by far, who almost broke Barry Sanders' record, to me makes more sense as a Heisman winner.
Is there going to be a strength of schedule argument, do you think, with Boise State playing in the Mountain West versus Colorado playing in the Big 12?
Well, the question for you, when do they decide the Heisman?
It's like in 2 weeks, I think.
Because let's see what Boise State does in the playoffs. They've got
that. I think... Yeah, they might have some of these early ones. If they go out in the first week...
like it answers that question. It's like, But if they're going deep, you got to go, they're actually a pretty good football team. And if Jetty's still putting up 200-plus yards and multiple touchdowns, then, I kind of feel like... To me, it kind of feels like, he's having the Cooper Cup season, but some quarterback's going to steal it for some silly reason.
It's 6 days away. So, unfortunately,
it's
playoff football's not going to really
count.
play into it.
Doesn't count. Yeah, and I know the media, there's a lot of visuals on Colorado. Like there's a definite, they've pushed and angled and marketed very heavily for Hunter also to win the award.
Yeah.
But I think he's just not the best player in college football this year. I think that's Jetty. So,
well, if you're a betting man, you get some good odds for Ashton, which again, from the numbers, I think you can make a case. But for the Heisman, it's pretty one-sided here. Let me get these here. Do you think there's any chance it's not one of those two?
It's less of a quarterback's award like the MVP in the NFL.
Correct, yeah.
So I think the way all the media I've seen is it's between those two. Like, Cam Ward's had an excellent season, better than Dylan's was, but I feel like, he's had a good quarterback season, but it's not generational. This is what we're talking about with Jetty, who almost probably would have broken Barry Sanders, that Barry Sanders college rushing record.
That one.
So, that's a... I think the last two-way player to win the Heisman was Woodson. Charles Woodson played both ways.
Cool. We ended up playing defense.
Yep.
$1.02 for Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
You might get in the 20s if you wanted to have a little punt on Ashton, which I think is a bit of fun.
Yep.
See,
because there has been a lot of media and hype around Buffalo's team. How's the Heisman voted on? Is it like the MVP, where I think there's old heads from media?
Yeah, it's like 50 people that vote on it.
Yeah. There is also a general hate for Colorado as well for the way their program is run for various reasons. I don't play into any of that. I think they're pretty good, Colorado, Denver, etc. I think they're pretty well run, and I've liked watching some of their football. But there is the way they vote on it might lead to voting in another direction.
What I was thinking of was that all former Heisman winners get to vote, 57. But
interesting.
That's only a small percentage of the 870 media votes.
Media votes, yeah. And the media has kind of a love-hate relationship with Colorado, is what I'm getting at.
Be interesting to see, but the bookies reckons it's Travis Hunter's to win. All right, wrap up some football.
Yep.
We ended up going a fair bit there.
We talked a lot of cricket, a lot of football.
All right, we'll try and wrap up the rest of this show in the next 40 minutes, I'd reckon.
Yeah, we don't have to go through deeply and everything else.
Curry sets, fires, puts it up. Bang!
So we'll start in the East in the NBA. Actually, top four, I don't think has changed since the last pod. Cavs are 21-4. Had a really big game out of Evan Mobley. Had a career high 41 points in their win against the Hornets, and they showed that they can beat Boston.
Yep,
they can do it in a one-game series in the regular season, or one game in the regular season, I should say. So it's one apiece in Cavs Celtics in what's looking likely to be the Eastern Conference Championship.
Yeah, I agree.
Magic will have something to say about that, but their good players keep tearing obliques. So they're 17-10 and sitting in third. Franz Wagner was going really good, but he's done the same injury that Paolo Banchero did. Banchero should be back soon. Wagner will be out for 4 to 6, I think, with that oblique. Knicks in fourth, 15-9. Heat 12-10. You're saying there's some trade rumors going around, possibly about Jimmy Buckets.
Yep. Yeah, I think his numbers and minutes have been down, and they've been playing pretty good. So capitalize on Jimmy as a name value and give him a fresh start somewhere else potentially.
Where could he end up? There's always throw out some names in the conversation here. Golden State Warriors, Houston Rockets, Dallas Mavs. He does not intend to pick up his player option. I could see him playing for any of those three.
Is it an odd fit with Mavs, though?
Yeah, I think Mavs bringing Clay across and maybe needing some bigger talent is an odd fit.
I feel
I could see him at the Warriors or the Rockets.
Like as a sort of Clay replacement essentially.
Yeah.
Play
Play the small forward role, could
Yeah.
play shooting guard if he needs to.
exactly be that Robin to Curry's Batman.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. That'll be a watch this space. The player option is $52 million for 25-26. So it'll be interesting.
35 there for Jimmy B.
Yeah.
It's got a few years left.
They're still going okay. They're fifth. I don't see them getting through Cavs or Celtics in the East this year.
No.
They might be starting to think about their season next year, which is interesting. Bucks steadied the ship.
Yep.
We're talking about a fair bit of pressure starting to build on Doc Rivers. Long NBA season. I think you got to get to Christmas before you can really sort of start to know how the season's going to shape out.
Agreed.
So they're back above 500, and I think they'll finish the season as a top 4 team in the East. Hawks, the Great Bear Thief keeps stealing. He had 5 steals the other day.
Saw that.
So
to keep that average 5,
yeah, we
doesn't
won't listen to the last podcast if you want to hear us fumble around it. He needs more. More than what he's averaging to get the record. But he's likely going to, barring injury, going to have the most steals in a season for the last 20 years. Nets are in 8th, 10 and 14. Pacers 9th, 7 and 10. Bulls 10 and 15. Pistons 10 and 15. 76ers in 12th. Won a few games since the last pod. Tyrese Maxey being healthy helps.
Yep.
Embiid only one game in that. I don't know what's going on. If they rushed him back too quickly with the meniscus cleanup last year and now it's taking its toll too much.
I've seen a fair...
Is it more locker room stuff?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of memes and jokes about Embiid and his load management and comparisons to other blokes playing with broken legs and things like that. And it's just like, where's the load management for these guys? I get that he's their long-term franchise player. He's a big guy, and you don't want to have long-term leg-related injuries if you want him to play a long career. So. Yes, maybe they're red-shirting him this year a little bit, or putting the injury jersey on him and see how they go. And if they maybe sneak later, if they get closer to a playoff run, then maybe he'll play more. But I think they kind of just want to get him healthy before they try to rush him back out there. Also
shows 4-2 with Maxey playing. Maybe he's the biggest piece for the 76ers
Maxey
now.
and what's the young fella's name?
McCain.
McCain, yeah. Yeah, if they can help it, then get them into that kind of position to maybe make a run, and that's where you bring a beat back, and the 3 of them can have a run.
Hornets 7 and 17. LaMelo dealing with calf strain. I don't think it appears to be too serious. If their season's to have any chance, they need him healthy.
Yeah.
And I think Raptors and Wizards, we can probably start thinking about their draft, which is crazy.
Didn't they spend all last season thinking about their draft as well?
The Wizards did, yeah. The Raptors are 7 and 18. With the way that it works these days, and you just got to give yourself a sniff to be, around 10th. They're only 3 games behind 10th. Maybe it's not lined through, but the Wizards aren't looking crash hot.
Yeah. When's the NBA Cup get decided?
Yeah, so we're up to 2 teams are into the semis, which is Bucks and Thunder.
Yep.
And then the other quarters are happening in the coming days.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I think I had a bracket open. Let me see if I can find it whilst we're on topic. So Bucks beat the Magic in the East yesterday, and the Knicks play the Hawks 12th. That's tomorrow.
Yep.
Thunder beat the Mavs to go through the semis, and Rockets and Warriors, the 2 potential landing spots for Jimmy Buckets, Jimmy Buckets potential bowl. Let's try saying that 5 times fast. Will play tomorrow. So Bucks to face winner of Knicks Hawks, and Thunder to face winner of Rockets Warriors. That's NBA Cup. Let's go over to the West. The West, as it's really shaping up to be
still fun.
Far more teams that look competitive.
Yep.
Thunder at the top, 19 and 5. Having someone over 6'6" helps. So Hartenstein, who was at the Knicks last year, he's come in there and he's working the glass.
With Chet hurt.
Yeah, Chet going to miss a majority of this season. They've got someone there that's actually tall, so doesn't have to be all SGA and Jalen Williams.
Yep.
Grizzlies actually looking pretty good. They're 17 and 8, 7 and 1 since the last pod. Rockets playing good team basketball. Geez, they're a young team.
Yep.
You know, talk about a veteran presence. Maybe Jimmy coming in. They could be win now type.
Who's their big name?
Alperen Şengün is probably their best player. Big Turkish centre. Does well for people in the fantasy world.
Definitely, like you said, a good team, playing good team ball with no big three or big superstar names. So, yeah, adding a Jimmy B might be quite interesting. It's kind of what the Heat did a couple of years ago, to add someone like Jimmy B as to help push their team to potential championships.
Their best starting five when healthy is Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Jabari Smith, Alperen Şengün.
Yep.
No one's massive. Şengün is like definitely top 10 centre.
Yep.
Maybe starting to get into sort of top 8 centre conversation. Mavs 16 and 9, a bit more healthy. Luka tends to help that. Warriors have slid a little bit since the last pod. They're still 14 and 9. It'd be interesting as well if Jimmy Butler was to end up over there. Clippers, Harden still putting them on his back a little bit, but they've gotten a little bit more healthy. Norman Powell coming back in. They're 14 and 11. Nuggets are in 7th. They're 12 and 10.
Yep.
See how tight the West is at the moment. Joker had 2 games where he scored over 100 between the two of them.
No, in total. So he scored 48 and 56.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Did I say that wrong?
Yeah, you said it sounded like you said he scored 100 in both games.
Yeah, that would have broken the internet. 48 against the Hawks, 56 against the Wizards. He scored 100 points
in total
between 2 games.
Yeah, and then he didn't get quite the triple double, but he,
who cares?
A lot of rebounds and a fair amount of assists as well.
Well, they actually lost the game when he scored 56 as well, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Maybe they're over relying on him a little bit much at the moment. They need some of the other guys maybe to step up and help. But I'm, again, not worried about the Nuggets currently. And with Embiid hurt and with the way the other team's kind of playing, I think Joker's should be favourite or heavy favourite for MVP.
He's already below $2, which is insane.
Yeah.
So down to $1.90, SGA $4.33, Luka $7.50, Greek Freak $8.
Yep.
Crazy. Lakers 13 and 11. LeBron turns 40 December 30th. So pencil that into your calendar, and he's still scoring 39-point triple doubles. AD also looking pretty good, but it's tight in here. It's so tight. T-Wolves 12 and 11.
Yeah. You can't keep going. Suns.
Suns 12 and 11. They've slid, but on paper, geez, they're
good.
good.
Name value.
Even the Spurs at 500,
Got the freak.
Yep. Wemby doing alien things. I think he's about to become the Spurs all-time leader in blocks.
In his third season?
No, I don't know if that's true. No,
How much mayo is on that one?
I think that's mayo. I saw Spurs all-time blocks. Maybe it was like top 5 or something. I don't know. It was something I saw. But now I'm thinking about it properly. David Robinson, Tim Duncan would have had heaps.
Yeah. Tim Duncan.
This is such
3,000. Yeah, that's so much mayo.
So much mayo.
He's not even top 10.
What were the... I don't know what I was quoting there. Obviously, complete mayo. Maybe Edward National World would... I was going to say would definitely be in 2 seasons, but there's someone, George Johnson, who had 512 blocks in 2 seasons, which is pretty crazy. Yeah. Maybe just delete that bit.
Don't believe everything you see on social media.
All time through 2 seasons, maybe. Kings 12 and 13, Blazers 8 and 16.
That's a bit of a regression for the Kings after last year.
I think the West is.
But again, it's
hard.
They're like 1 game off 500, so it's just so tight.
DeMar DeRozan to a team with Fox and Sabonis that's already pretty good, and they're 12th. But yeah, what does 1 game below 500 get you in the East? That'd be 7th, 8th.
Yep.
So, yeah, big discrepancy in the East and the West. The 3 teams that are probably not going to be in playing contention: Blazers, Jazz, Pelicans.
Yeah.
Zion, more injury problems. Hamstring, hasn't been playing.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting watching, because it's starting to become a bit of a theme for his career.
Yeah, I saw some conversation about he got a new tat, I think, a week or 2 ago, As part of that, you saw his rig, and then there was some comparisons of his rig to Bron's rig at almost 40, and you're like, you can see who works on their game. I think is the conversation.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Hard work beats talent, and talent when it works hard can't be beaten.
We spat that out well.
I made half that shit.
Oh, it's funny. Thank you to Himanshu in the comment section here. Constance needs to play for Australia. I agree. I think
I'm very much on the bandwagon.
I think he will play for Australia. I don't think it'll be this series.
Yeah.
Barring injury.
Barring injury or some big collapses.
Just shout out to Bryce Cotton in the NBL. He's had games of 59, 40, 49 for the Wildcats this week. Rumours some NBA teams are interested. He's 32, which doesn't bode well. But, he keeps putting up nights like that.
Could be a good role player.
Let's talk some soccer briefly and then get into this final round. Fair few matches since we last spoke on the pod. Sean getting up the standings there. Since last pod, Leicester did sack Steve Cooper, which seems like it was a while ago. Officially appointed Ruud van Nistelrooy as their new manager, former striker for United. They didn't do the sack their coach and win straight away, although he's got a win for him, which is good. And then some of the bigger games since last pod, Liverpool beat Man City, so 2-0 to really consolidate at the top. The woes continue for Man City. I don't think Pep Guardiola will ever be moved on. I think
it's kind of crazy that not Forest is closing.
Yeah, 2 points. 2 points, same with Villa, and then Brighton only 3 points behind Man City. So
it's pretty tight there.
That Champions League is going to be fun. It's been a product of the EPL this year as well, where it's just week in, week out, just about anyone can beat anyone.
Yep.
The mid section of the EPL is the strongest in world football. I think that's what makes it probably the most entertaining to watch, in my opinion. There's really no gimme games.
Yep.
So we've seen Forest, we've seen Villa, we've seen Brighton, we've seen Bournemouth, we've seen Brentford, we've seen Fulham, who is currently sit 5th to 10th, all be competitive and all
within a game.
Yeah, and they're sitting ahead of teams like Tottenham, Newcastle, and Man United.
Yep,
which is crazy.
I'm actually really interested. Got Liverpool at the top there, but Chelsea has closed in on them significantly. But also Chelsea having a big time advancement from where they've been recently.
Flying up, they've won their last 4. They're scoring goals. What's their goal difference? 18?
35 goals for.
And 35-4, so 6 clear even of Liverpool. So being able to find the back of the net regularly. And, some of those wins in the last, fortnight or so. I think they had a 5-1 win. Yeah, 5-1 against Southampton. They
just got past the Spurs.
Yeah, the 4-3 thriller on the weekend. I wonder if there's any pressure building on Ange. I hope not. I think some Spurs fans can be a little fickle, as some sports fans can be.
Still early. It's not like they're scoring a good amount of goals.
Yeah, they scored 31
compared to some of the others in here. So, and a couple of games and they'll be up here. So you just got to have the results go your way. It's still really close.
Yeah, 100%.
Still early.
That goal difference.
Another mouth, different question.
That goal difference for Spurs going to hold them in good stead. Their goal difference is 12. So they've got the best goal difference outside of Liverpool, Chelsea and Arsenal.
Look at that. That's a big difference in there.
Yeah.
So, I think they just got to win games. It doesn't tell me who they've lost against, besides the Chelsea one.
They drew with Bournemouth and lost to Chelsea going back a few weeks. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a regulation.
Yeah, go down the bottom. Southampton in a bit of strife there on 5 points. Wolves and Ipswich on 9, and then a bit of buffer up to Palace, Leicester, Everton. Amorim hasn't really been able to turn it around for Man United just yet, but they're still in with a sniff, like that middle section. How many points between Man United and say Man City? If you scroll up there,
they were 27, so it's 8.
Yeah, so 8 points separates 4th and 13th. So that middle section is tight. Pretty crazy as well. It seems like City losing an ungodly amount of games. They're still sitting in fourth.
What have they got? Another 3 games as halfway of the season? 18?
Halfway point is 19. 4 games for most clubs.
Yeah, getting close to halfway point.
Yeah, crazy. It feels like it's just started.
I'm good to see because, we're talking about Liverpool potentially already winning because they were, 8 or 9 points ahead.
Well,
someone's kind of close.
Yeah, they're a game in hand there from Chelsea, so it's 4 points, but it's potentially 7 points.
Yeah.
It's definitely Liverpool's to lose, but Chelsea, Arsenal's sniffing, and
any slip and they
that's right, and we could see someone from outside the big six clubs be playing Champions League football.
Yeah, and these two still scoring goals.
Yeah, Haaland slowed a little bit from getting out of the gates very quickly. 13, Mo Salah, he's very good. And Cole Palmer there with 11 for Chelsea. Actually, he had a hat-trick with pens, which I don't think has happened in the Premier League era.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But also, don't believe what I say because maybe etc. Should we do a final round?
Yeah, let's finish off quickly.
UFC 310
last pay-per-view for the year.
Crazy. Run through some of the big fights here. I'll try and help you with some names. Flyweight champion Alexandra Pantoja beat Kai Asakura.
Yep.
Rear naked choke. Did you see the finish?
Correct. Yep. Yeah, it was a pretty good fight. He was very aggressive and dominated. Dominated is the wrong word, but he was pushing the pace and really controlling the fight. Mm-hmm. And then, once he got it to the ground, he got the back and got the rear naked choke, and that's all she wrote. It was, I think it was second round choke, but he looked very good. Did call out Mighty Mouse, Demetrius Johnson, who's been retired for a couple of years. And
how old is Mighty Mouse? He's like
38. So in theory, he's still MMA age, but he's come out and said, I'm retired. Look at me, I'm good, I'm happy. I don't need to do this. Go fight these young fellas. So I think he's happy in retirement.
Good call.
So it'll be interesting to see what he does in the flyweight division because it's a bit of a hard division to have big names, big stars. So whether Pantoja wants to potentially move up a division, get in that bantamweight conversation. So we'll see.
Well, in the last sort of 6 years as well, it's been Pantoja taking over from Marino and Figgy.
Yep,
it's really been those three that have dominated
those,
the last
those went
6,
back
7
and forth,
years.
and now Figgy's moved up.
Yeah.
He's now beaten Marino, I think, twice. So, he's now kind of the head. But
they can't run that again. I think they've had
exactly
4, haven't they, already?
So, I think, he fought the Australian, winning in a close fight and still won that. And then he's fought the Japanese guy here and won convincingly. So, it'll be interesting to see where he goes from here. It's
also a sort of testament to how good Mighty Mouse is and how young he was when he was dominating that division. The fact that he's 38.
And it was a bigger, more competitive division, I reckon, back then as well. Yeah, because they had invested in it a lot heavier to grow that division when they brought it across from WEC. It had a lot more guys actively competing in it, whereas it's lost a lot of its mystique and then they kind of died off. And really it was Figgy and Marino that brought it back. There was talks about killing the division off.
Yeah,
it's not enough fighters fight it and not enough people watch it. It's hard to watch the tiny fellas, pay-per-view.
I think it's entertaining.
Yeah, it's a different style because it's way more fast-paced and a lot more volume than power.
Yeah, speed's incredible, but the power is lacking, obviously.
Yes, yeah. But, those guys with their wars kind of made it interesting again.
Yeah.
And then, see if Pantoja can keep it going long-term. Or is he run amok in that division already and needs to throw his weight into that bantamweight conversation, which has got a lot of interesting fun fights going on.
Yeah, for sure. In terms of depth as well at bantamweight.
Yeah, a lot deeper.
Going up to welterweight, Shavkat Rakhmonov defeats Ian Mercado Gary. This was a decision, unanimous decision. Did you feel like they got the right call here?
Yep, correct. It was interesting that it's actually 48-47 because he controlled a lot of the clinching and engagements. There's a lot of technical wrestling in this fight.
You're thinking more of a 49-46 perhaps?
Yes, yeah. Gary almost wins this fight with a choke in, I think, the end of the 4th round or the end of the 5th, it was right towards the end of the fight. Had a very tight choke, but he managed to fight through it and get the win. He did have the Muhammad fight lined up for the title. and Muhammad had to pull out through injury. So instead of waiting, he took the Ian Gary fight, who's ranked a lot lower than him, but he is a big name. But it was a big step up for Gary, and he was shown for a large part of the fight that it was probably wasn't as good as a fighter at this point in his career, but showed that I can flip it on a dime and potentially win with a choke. But he's a Kazakhstanian, isn't he?
I'm trying to get down to the flag, and I should be able to tell you.
Go up. You're too low. Welterweight. That's feather, and that's light. Keep going. And there you go. Welterweight. Yeah,
that's a Kazakh.
Yeah.
19-0. Surely he gets Muhammad next.
Yes. So they did the face-off afterwards.
Yep.
There was some funny. He tried to jump the fence, jump over the barrier to get in, and the security stopped him. Joe Rogan's like, they don't even know who the champion is. Well, they eventually got him in. They did a little face-off. It was a scheduled fight with him, but due to injury, they had to pull out. And
do you know what the Bilal Muhammad injury was?
I want to say eye, but it's probably going to be more hand. I don't remember exactly.
Bone infection in my foot. Ugh.
Even further away.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the body. Yeah. Now, I saw a fair bit post-fight from this one in heavyweight. Cyril Gane defeating Alexander Volkov by split decision. You have seen the fight?
Yeah.
Who do you think won the fight?
I thought Volkov won the fight.
Dana White seemed to think that he won the fight.
The vision of Joe Rogan in the behind, because he's standing behind ready to do interviews. When they read it out, and he's like, what the fuck? I thought Volkov had more damaging shots and had the better of the grappling sections. I think it was a bad split decision the other way.
What was the quote to him? He apologised to him. Did he say something like I have no idea. They stole that W, maybe something like that.
Straight, well, that's Robert Whittaker saying there that there's a straight robbery. I think a lot of people watching that were like, Volkov had a lot of the ascendancy and a lot of the betterness in the fights. It was interesting if you look at that scorecard. They've all scored that first round. So between rounds 1 and 2, they all kind of score it slightly differently. Like it's all kind of jumbled up. So it's they kind of they were close rounds, but I felt in a lot of the circumstances Volkov was better. So you got 10-9, 10-9, 10-9 all Gane, but I think Volkov won the first round because he wrestled a lot better. Then it's kind of so that second one 10-9, 9-10, 10-9, and then the last one's 9-10, 9-10, 9-10.
So they all had Volkov winning the last round.
Yeah, which I think he did, and I thought he won the first round, and the second was probably a coin toss. So, from my aspect, from what I watched, and basically what everyone's been saying, I think Volkov got robbed.
White said, "You got fucked." Didn't mince his words there. Yeah. The whole fucking arena thought he won that fight. They fucked up that one real bad. I'll talk to you in a little while. I apologise. Dana White.
He might not get a better ranking, but I think Dana probably won't care too much about that. And if there's a fight at the top of that heavyweight division, it wouldn't surprise me if Volkov's in his name. And especially if John Jones doesn't want to go around again, maybe Tom Aspinall. There's not a lot of dudes fighting in there.
Bryce Mitchell had a win against Cron Gracie.
Yeah, it was interesting. Gracie wanted to pull guard constantly. So every time they grapple, he pulled guard. So Mitchell said he wanted to strike more, but it's not much I can do when he's pulling guard. Unfortunately for him, and one of those times he grabbed on him to pull guard, Mitchell slammed him down on the ground and probably concussed him at that point, and then finished up with elbows and got the win. So it's. Wasn't the best showing from Gracie, and Mitchell did what he needed to do and looked like the better fighter and got the win.
Trying to find Cron in this family tree here. Crazy. So, son of Rickson, looks like. That's actually insane. Look at the Gracie family tree online to see how many of these dudes have.
This is the main ones here with Royce, etc.
Yeah, Royce, Royler, Rickson, Horian.
Yeah.
So his son,
their old man is the big
son of Rickson, and then so his grandfather is Helio Gracie.
Yep.
But then he had brothers that were also then have sons that have grandsons that are now fighting.
Yep. Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is crazy.
Yeah. The fact you just have one family and that's what they're all obsessed with, and heaps of them are really, really good at it.
Yep.
Incredible.
Yeah, Gracie had a bit of an issue getting fights. But Mitchell accepted this one, so they did the job.
Yeah, we're talking all about Cron Gracie. Bryce Mitchell won with the knockout with the elbows.
Yep.
And Troy Duho defeats Nate Landavere, TKO elbows
Yeah,
featherweight.
just a fun fight, and ended with elbows pretty early, so it was good.
Hard to back up 309, I think.
Yes.
From a names value.
Yes. And last card for the year, they've announced 311, but that won't be till mid next year. January next year.
Mid-Jan, yeah. Bit F1?
Yep.
Bastian Vettel.
Yeah, final race of the year finished off. Was pretty competitive, a lot of overtakes. Jack Doohan, the Aussie, got his first race, replacing Ocon for Alpine. He'll race there next year. Did finish 15th. Not a great result for him, but it's good to get his first taste. But the main thing was McLaren. McLaren won the Constructors' Championship. Oscar finished like 10th or 9th. But Lando won, which gave them more than enough points to hold off Ferrari, who finished 2 and 3, to win B Constructors, which is pretty impressive for them. Considering kind of where they were, and I guess it goes to the fall down of what happened with Red Bull. It's pretty impressive for Oscar. He finished every lap this year. He becomes only the 4th driver in history to do that in a season. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I wouldn't have thought that. I thought that would have been a lot higher.
Yeah, but obviously, plenty of crashes and plenty of guys misses and laps and things, and engine failures and things like that. It plays into it. But
injury.
Oscar has been a pretty clean season. What's interesting though, Max Verstappen did crash into him on the first lap to take him out. Did get a 10-second penalty, but kind of ruined Oscar's race. That's why he finished down the list a fair bit. But it was a good stat there. Max, I think, finished somewhere. What did he finish, like 5th or 6th in that race?
6th in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, but still was world champion. McLaren, the construction champions, and all the focus, I guess, will turn to Perez. Will he or won't he be racing there next year? All the reports is no, he won't be, and Lawson's going to take his seat. So he's had a generational fumble at the back end of the year if you find Perez's numbers, because they'd done well to start with. He started when he signed that contract. Retirement 8, 7, 17, 7, 7 6, 18, 17, 10, 7. Then 17th, 11th, 10th, retirement. No points in the last 2 races of the year.
So the best he finished was 6th after signing the contract, after 4 podiums in the first month and a half.
Yeah, and all top 5 finishes over that first 2 months. So, yeah.
Crazy.
Yep. So, Perez is probably career done.
Bit closer in the constructors than maybe what I'd anticipated.
Yeah, it got very, very tight there.
666 is what McLaren finishes on, and Ferrari finishing 652. So 14 points in the scheme of things, not a whole lot there.
Yeah, and then you look at Red Bull, 589 points. 400 of that came from Max Verstappen.
Crazy.
So you can see, they'd probably win again if they had a comparable driver next to him.
Who's their 2 going to be next year?
I think Lawson
will
take that spot, and Verstappen, it'll be Verstappen Lawson. That's all the reports. Poor Yuki seems to have missed out. He obviously doesn't. Is something that they just don't like and don't want to promote him. He's been pretty good, but they just don't want to promote him into that spot.
Did you catch much about the war of words between Max and George Russell?
With their kind of back and forth about...
I mean, he wanted to put his head through a wall or something?
Yeah. I think Russell gets that kind of run to the principal aspect. He's a bit of a snitch. And Max is just like, hey, we're here to race. And in the scheme of things, you're just bitching, overly excessively bitching about stuff you don't need to. So I don't want to label Russell with the soft tag, but, that's kind of where they're they're coming from.
Russell accusing Verstappen of being a bully and threatening to intentionally crash into him.
Yeah.
Said he'd lost all respect for the Mercedes driver after that. Denied the accusation. Interesting.
Yeah. So was funny that came out of that. The drivers will have, the last driver dinner for the season in Abu Dhabi. They take a photo and stuff like that. So all the talk, all the media questions about where was Max sitting, where was George sitting. Supposedly George was late and they saved a seat for him next to Verstappen, but he declined that and then sat at the other end of the table. So it was funny buggers.
Very funny indeed.
But yeah, big change.
Bit of a soap drama.
Yeah, big change in the guard in their fun, of course. A lot of drivers going to new teams. Hamilton's a big one. He's going to Ferrari. And then, of course, a year away and we get a new team. Cadillac is going to join F1 and have their own team. So we'll have 22 cars on the grid.
Any new circuits for next year?
Oh, not for next year. I know I think it's Netherlands is dropping off the calendar in the future.
Wow.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, given Max's dominance recently.
I think they've re-upped with China and they re-upped with another one. I think Monza was Monaco was during the week as well. But yeah, I don't think that's significant change. I wonder if it'll give you a list of tracks that have been added or not. Calendar changes there. Click on that. Calendar changes.
Oh, you found that quickly, didn't you?
The opening. So Australia will open
that's cool.
for the first time. So it's come back here. Yeah. So it hasn't done that post-COVID, but it's good. Bahrain
and Saudi they're just moving him to avoid Ramadan, and
they're not doing the Russian one. That's for certain.
Yeah. So no, I don't think that's any.
No. So I don't think track changes for next year. I think 2026 will be the year where they'll have more race.
So it's just scheduling changes, and the race date for Aussie Grand Prix aficionados.
Next race,
16th of March.
Yeah. 4 months away.
Yeah, it's a while.
3 and a bit months away. Yeah, it's a quick turnaround for them.
Yeah, quick maths there. Well, Lewis, it's late. It's a weeknight. Thank you to anyone that's joined live. Hopefully you're catching this in the lead up to the third test between Australia and India starting Saturday. Series is 1 apiece. There is a bit of women's cricket on if you're here with us live. The Aussies are bowling. Yeah, they might have just got a wicket here. India need 110 off at about a runner ball, just faster than a runner ball with 6 in hand. Hopefully the Aussie girls can get it done to get the series sweep there. NFL, the next few weeks are going to be real spicy.
Playoff race, let's go. Month ago.
There's going to be a few that will clinch their divisions and their playoff spots and then rest. And then, like we're talking about in the NFC West, NFC North, there's going to be games that are important right up until week 18. And we'll see. Is Josh Allen got the MVP in the bag, or could Saquon become the first running back in a long time to win there? NBA Cup will be decided the next time we talk. It'll be a bit quiet in the combat sports world, but it's all things cricket, baby, at this time of the year.
Oh, yeah.
We'll catch you after the Gabba test. Enjoy if you're watching that, and enjoy if you're getting close to the end of your work year. Nearly there. Let's go.
Bye.